of those offensive linemen received some sort of recognition on the All-Pac-10 team. At the very least, they were each honorable mention. Rodgers under duress, dumps it off for the fullback. Mandarino with a first down out to the 26-yard line. Deke Bake made the tackle for Texas Tech, but it's a gain of 11 and a first down. The man to watch up front is Adele Duckett, the defensive end. First team all Big 12 this year. Session, Stratton, and Smith, the linebackers. They're without John Saul, the ordinarily a starter. Huffman, Rangel, Meeks, and the Ziradine. The secondary, a much improved defense over a year ago. They were 110th in the nation in total defense last year, 42nd this year. That improvement will get a stiff test tonight. Arrington dropped by the middle linebacker Brock Stratton. No gain on the play.
Interesting to see that Cal comes out throwing the football. This is an offense where they've lost several wide receivers. His go-to guys, his dependable players have all been injured this season, particularly Jeff MacArthur, All-American type player, wide receiver. So the burden falls on J.J. Arrington's shoulders in trying to take advantage of rush defense.
Jeff MacArthur, 202 career receptions. Broke his left leg in their last game of the regular season against Southern Mississippi. Jonathan McConan, the intended receiver. Rodgers and the Cal Partisans wanted a flag. And Chase Lyman tore a knee ligament in their 4th game of the year. That heartbreaking loss at USC when they outplayed the Trojans but still lost. The other receivers are inexperienced, and the challenge for Rodgers has been to get the timing down with this new group. He was very comfortable with the veterans. He's still adjusting to this group.
Jonathan McConan tonight, number 5. He's the guy that Aaron Rodgers says he feels the most comfortable with in this offense.
2 tight ends into the game now. Rodgers straight back to throw. And it's too high. Intended for McConan again. Antonio Huffman had the coverage. So Cal picked up 1 first down, and now the Golden Bears will punt.
And again, you hear it all season about how a quarterback and a wide receiver, they have a timing deal that they work with. And the fact that Aaron Rodgers' receivers aren't there, and particularly Jeff MacArthur, it's not the same offense. That's why I was a little surprised here, and I'm sure Tech was as well, pleasantly, that they came out throwing the football.
David Loney on the punt, the 25-year-old Australian. High and short punt. And an immediate tackle made on special teams as Amendola had no room to run after a 35-yard punt. And it's no surprise that Mike McGrath was first there. He is an All-Pac-10 conference selection as a special teams player. So Sonny Cumbie, a 5th-year senior, came to Texas Tech as a walk-on from Snyder, Texas, about an hour and a half away from the campus in Lubbock. Waited behind Cliff Kingsbury and B.J. Simmons. And now got his chance as a 5th-year senior and has fared well. Hasn't quite put up the numbers of his 2 predecessors. But certainly there hasn't been much drop-off either. He's passed for 4,222 yards.
Well, he drives the Cadillac and doesn't make a lot of mistakes.
He dumps it off short. Nehemiah Glover. A tall receiving core. He is the short guy among the group. A 7-yard gain for Nehemiah. Who stands 5'8". Torian Henderson, a versatile rusher and receiver with the 4 wide receivers, Kalani, Hicks, Fuller, and Glover. And like California, an excellent and veteran offensive line for Texas Tech. On 2nd and 2. A deep ball thrown by Companies, nobody home. He was looking for Trey Haverty. He was well covered by Damian Hughes. And the Nexium starting defense for Cal. Ryan Riddle, the man to watch up front, a school record 14.5 sacks. Alexander, an excellent run stopper. Hunter, Meningo, and Blymiza. are the linebackers, and in the secondary, the hard hitters are at safety. Gutierrez and Giordano, with Smith and Hughes the corners. They are 13th in the nation in total defense. That gets lost in the terrific offensive performance this year at Cal. 3rd and 2. And it's Henderson. I'm not sure he got to that yellow line. It doesn't look as if he did. They don't run it very often. They are #1 in the nation in passing, but just 111th in rushing at 93 yards a game. Yeah, gaps, Sean, are what we're talking about tonight. You talked to Cal all week, and the thing that they had on their mind was the splits of Tech's offensive linemen. Now, Tech's offensive line that time were not wide like they sometimes get. You'll find sometimes where you got tackle to tackle, they're hash to hash. And so we'll see a lot of open space tonight from Cal's defensive line, and how can they deal with that? They say we're going to try to run right through those gaps. The splits aren't as wide here as they line up 1st and 10. The run by Henderson was enough for the first down. Here he comes again, and the junior from Gatesville, Texas, couldn't turn the corner. Donnie McCleskey up from the secondary. McCleskey was a starter last year. Now a nickel back primarily this season, but they'll play a lot of nickel and dime defense obviously tonight against all of these wide receivers. We had a great time at the banquet yesterday at a little function where both teams were there, and Ryan Gutierrez, defensive back corner type player for Cal, came out and was really kind of talking a little smack. You know, that secondary said they were going to show up today against those Tech receivers. So if all those guys, all those receivers run through the middle, we're going to hit them. They call those safeties for Cal the Bruise brothers. That apparently was a lateral. No whistles blown, so Jared Hicks picks it up and runs for a first down. Officials ruling that that was a lateral and not a forward pass. Hicks alertly stayed with the play and advanced the ball to the 37-yard line. Looks like they might even give him more yardage than that. They'll put it down at the 35 for a 13-yard gain and a Raider first down. And in the appropriate call, that ball was a lateral, and so for the heads-up play of Hicks to get it down the field. Cal's defense wants to take out Jared Hicks. They want to box and bracket him as often as they can. They had 67 receptions in the regular season. Looked like they were trying to set up a little screen, and California had it snuffed out. Joel Falani wound up with the football, but for a very short gain of 1 for the sophomore from Phoenix, Arizona. Mike Leach's offense is really good between the 20s. When they get into the red zone, that's when defenses, if they're going to have any chance of competing in the game against them, they have to bone up. In the red zone offense, you know, you throw 5 people out there, just not as much field to have to deal with. This is his offense. He is the offensive coordinator, calls the plays. It's been his design as it has evolved over the years. The long pass intended for Jared Hicks, incomplete, and then the flag thrown after the ball had crashed out of bounds. Harrison Smith, who's been their most consistent cover corner, had the coverage. He doesn't like the call, but the official, nodding his head, seems convinced he made the right call.
On the defense, number 11, 15 yards, previous drive, automatic first down.
I think what you'll see is Harrison Smith trying to cover singled up over here on Jared Hicks, which is really not what they wanted to do going into this game. Watch how he keeps pushing him. Smith keeps pushing Hicks and just runs him out of bounds. His body pushed him out of bounds.
And the flag thrown by this whack officiating crew. Frank White is the referee tonight. Jeff Tedford has done a remarkable job in his 3 years. He inherited a Cal team that went 1-10 in 2001, the last year under Coach Tom Holmoe. They're 25-12, 3 straight winning seasons under Tedford. The fade incomplete in the direction of Joel Falani. Trying to take advantage of his height at 6'3", but Damian Hughes, the defender, also with excellent height at 6'2".
Well, here's that inside the 20 number, 42 touchdowns out of 59. And, you know, you don't want to come away with field goals, which this year they've been really successful with. So Mike Leach has figured out how to take a real run and gun, watered down version West Coast moving around offense and be successful inside the 20 where a lot of coaches can't.
It's hard to put your finger on what this offense is. A little bit of run and shoot, a little bit of the West Coast offense, a little bit of everything that he's encountered in his career. Tough run by Henderson. There's a guy who doesn't get much attention. We talk about Arrington not getting his just due around the country, but how about Henderson? 2,334 career rushing yards and 1,505 career receiving yards. The only player in history among the current Big 12 schools who was rushed for 2,000 and had 1,500 receiving.
You saw how everybody started out offensive line, little zone stretch, reach, blocking, nobody trying to blow anybody away. Hat on hat, everybody found the right deal. Gandy and Ramirez up front doing a great job of blocking.
First and goal from the 9. The underdog Red Raiders trying to get on the board first, and they do. Touchdown to Jared Hicks.
Jared Hicks outside. He's going to get back to the middle of the field and see how he throttles it down. Hicks throttles it down before the safety can come over and smack him. They're wanting to bracket Hicks in this game, but right now that bracket's pretty darn loose. They need to get a wrench on it.
12th touchdown reception of the season for Hicks. That ties the Texas Tech single season record. And Sonny Cumbie just threw his 30th touchdown pass of the year. That's the 3rd highest single season total in Texas Tech history. B.J. Simmons threw 52 last year. So a great start for the Red Raiders of the Big 12. They lead 7-0. And we thank all of our friends from Pacific Life for the usual extraordinary hospitality here at the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl in San Diego. Sold out, 66,000 fans inside Qualcomm Stadium. They just watched the Red Raiders score first as Jared Hicks caught his 12th touchdown pass of the season, capping a 59-yard 9-play drive. Keith, too good. Kicks off. Marshaun Lynch, the talented freshman, out to the 22-yard line. Jeff Tedford says Lynch is a very special player. He will be their featured back next year with the departure of J.J. Arrington. Here's Heather Cox.
Sean, as Cal's defense came off the field, the defensive coaches huddled around the line and said, guys, you can't be frustrated. All week long, we've been talking about those unusual gaps, the unorthodox way the O-line lines up for Texas Tech. Now you've seen it in person. Now make those adjustments. You know you can't get around the edges, but let's incorporate what we saw on tape, guys. Don't be frustrated.
And obviously it had an impact in it because in that series there were 4 rushes for 27 yards, and that probably surprised Cal as much as anything.
J.J. Arrington having a tough time getting started. Brock Stratton stopped him right in his tracks. Arrington needs 155 yards tonight to reach 2,000 for his season, and he would be just the 3rd player in the history of the Pac-10 to do that. And we talked with Aaron Rodgers yesterday about the game tonight. One of the first things he said was, I want to make sure J.J. Arrington gets that 155 yards. That's important to all of us.
And you know, that goes back to what you said about Jeff Tedford in our conversations about Arrington being the most underrated player in America, and certainly in the backfield. And he's a heck of a player. He gets better as the game goes on.
The only 2 to rush for 2,000 in a season are a couple of USC Trojans, Marcus Allen and Charles White, among all of the great backs who have played in the Pac-10. Timeout, California. 6 minutes into the first quarter here in San Diego.
ESPN's presentation of the 2004 Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. Brought to you by Pacific Life, proud sponsor of the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. And in part by Capital One, what's in your wallet? And Sonic. It's not just good, it's Sonic good.
And welcome back to San Diego, everybody. Sean McDonough, Craig James, and Heather Cox. Texas Tech leads 7-0, and so far, Craig, on both sides of the ball, Cal seems a little out of sorts.
Well, you just go back to that deal. Is their mind right, really right, entering this game and not worried about that BCS deal?
Here's Arrington finally getting loose, and he's out to the 37-yard line with a first down. Adele Duckett made the tackle after a 12-yard pickup. Let's check in with Reese Davis.
Sean, up the coast away from you guys in San Francisco, the Emerald Bowl, Navy and New Mexico, and Aaron Polanco of Navy had a terrific day. 61-yard touchdown pass here to Corey Dryden. He ran for 3 scores. Navy 34-19. They win 10 for the first time since 1905.
Congratulations to Paul Johnson and the midshipmen. A great year. Texas Tech asked for a timeout. And Mike Leach had some question for the officials, apparently about the alignment of California. Welcome back to the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. Nearly midway through the first quarter. Texas Tech with a 7-0 lead. And Craig, you feel like you know why the Red Raiders just used a timeout on defense.
Trying to recognize who's eligible, not eligible. Very important tonight for Texas Tech's defense because of all of the shifting that Cal does.
Marshaun Lynch now the lone back. And they hand it off to Lynch. You mentioned on the ride over here, Craig, that you thought we might see more of Lynch tonight in plays just like that because they don't have the usual talented wide receiver. Maybe they can spread him out a little bit and take advantage of his special talents.
With all the injuries to the wide receivers, they need more playmakers besides J.J. Arrington. He will split out wide tonight, Marshaun Lynch. And when Aaron Rodgers was asked, I made a comment to him about J.J. Arrington. He goes, hey, how about Lynch? You know, so that just tells you how powerful and explosive the young man is.
He averages 9.1 yards per carry this season, and that's with 66 carries, so it's not like he had only a few. Here's Lynch again. When we talked to Jeff Tedford about Marshaun Lynch, his face just lit up. He said he is a very special talent. True freshman out of Oakland Tech, not far from their campus in Berkeley, and that's a 5-yard game.
Oh, my goodness. Look at the block. Right guard Murr's way he comes in. That's domination. Cal's offensive line, the right guard, very strong, powerful with good feet, and that's called playing with leverage under the pads.
1st and 10, California. Out to the 49. They go with 4 wide receivers. A little page out of the Texas Tech playbook. Empty backfield as Rodgers throws behind Robert Jordan. That's what we were talking about. He isn't yet really on the same page comfortably with these new receivers. Jordan is a true freshman. As a matter of fact, he's the cousin of Marshaun Lynch. They're both true freshmen. He was on the scout team, was going to redshirt this season until they lost Chase Lyman in the 4th game. Then they had to take the red shirt off Jordan. He wound up making 24 catches.
That old saying, looking for a few good men at this point at wide receiver.
Jordan has outstanding speed. Arrington near another first down, about 2 yards shy of it as he goes to the 43 of Texas Tech. Antonio Huffman made the tackle after an 8-yard gain. First meeting ever between Texas Tech and California as Capital One Bowl Week continues in San Diego with the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. Qualcomm Stadium sold out. We're delighted to be here with 7 minutes left in the first quarter. Texas Tech leads 7-0. Sonny Cumbie, a 9-yard touchdown pass to Jared Hicks. Now California on 3rd and 2. It is incomplete. Off the hands of Robert Jordan. Well, let's see what Coach Tedford does. He sends the punter out on 4th and 2 in Texas Tech territory.
You really have to, Sean, because Texas Tech's offense, a short field for them is like, you know, eating their ice cream before they get the steak. You want Tech's offense to have to travel the distance of the field, giving themselves a chance to make a mistake.
It would be a great situation for a fake if the Bears were so inclined. Andy Amendola is back for the punt. He's an outstanding punt returner. First team All Big 12, as a matter of fact, as a return specialist. 32-yard punt, no return.
Yeah, there was a pretty good balance on Tech's offense the last series. 4 runs, 5 passes, and it was a scoring series that was really set up early on. Jared Hicks on the outside. Harrison Smith with the pass interference pushes him out of bounds. Tarian Henderson running the football in the middle of the field with those tight splits by the Tech offensive lineman. And then Hicks from the outside with a touchdown reception, which I'm sure has gotten the attention of Cal's defense at this point.
Hard to believe they have the offense they have. All these players running all over the place, and Mike Leach can fit it all in a little scrap of paper he has in his hand.
He's a genius, man. That guy knows artwork. He knows Western Indies, Caribbean history. He knows football and it all.
He was a fascinating guy to speak with. E.J. Whitley, the right tackle, jumped early, and it'll be a 5-yard walk-off against Texas Tech.
5-yard penalty remains. First down.
They are frequently penalized, but when you pass for 389 yards a game, you can overcome a lot of that penalty yardage.
You know, Mike Leach asked about his mind, how he keeps it all on one piece of paper. He has such a feel for the defense. He makes the defense stay so backed up the whole game, wondering what he's going to do with 5 guys out in the route.
Henry changing the play. The Bear fans making a lot of noise. Henry hit as he threw, and it's incomplete. Intended for Trey Haverty, who never turned to see the ball coming. Joe Meningos, an excellent blitzing linebacker, put the pop on Cumbie. That's a lot of hair. Yesterday we saw him at the luncheon. He had it tied up in a bun.
You know what? I'm sitting there, and I can't believe that he had all of that hair wadded up into one ball. And it didn't even look like the same guy. How did he, you know, like those vacuum pressure packers just kind of suck all the hair out of it?
He was on the mention all Pac-10 this year, 2nd and 15. And again, plenty of noise from the Cal faithful. Again, he lost the football, and it's an incomplete pass. Well, Ryan Gutierrez promised that he and his fellow safety Matt Giordano would deliver the blows to that receiver core over the middle of the field, and Giordano just delivered as promised for his fellow Bruise brother.
Well, Trey Haverty is one of the players that they want to take out of the offense tonight, and Matt Giordano comes up, and like you say, that's the message that they sent at the banquet yesterday. We're going to let you know we play football in the middle of the field.
Giordano's not the only guy in his family who would hit you. His great-grandfather Ralph was the world welterweight boxing champion in 1933. From the end zone, Cumbie hit as he threw, has a receiver short of the first down. Nehemiah Glover tackled immediately by Giordano. An 11-yard gain, but not enough for the first down. They're at the 18-yard line, and here comes the punt team on 4th and 4.
You notice in that series there, the pressure that they put on Sonny Cumbie, Sean. I mean, they're starting to get in the backfield and letting Cumbie know that their folks are around him. Their goal tonight, one of them, is to go in and to put pressure early on Cumbie because he's going to look quickly to his target. They want to be able to read his eyes from the secondary.
Alex Ray is the punter. Tim Mixon back for it. He leads the Pac-10 in punt returns this year at 11.6 per return. It goes for the fair catch there after a 39-yard punt. 5:38 to play in the first quarter. The Red Raiders lead 7-0. The Pacific Life Holiday Bowl throughout the years. Memorable 2000 battle won by Oregon 35-30 over Texas. Here it's Cal with good field position for its 3rd possession of the night. They had scored 7 times in their 11 games on their first possession this season. Not so tonight. Rodgers steps up, throws deep, has a man. It is incomplete. Jonathan McConan, the intended receiver, and he couldn't hang on. Khalid Naziruddin had the coverage, the junior college transfer from Spring, Texas.
Now, McConan is the guy they're trying to go to. And the thing about it is that Rodgers, rather than running, recognized his opportunity for the home run. Now, Jeff MacArthur maybe makes that catch. You know, that's a catchable ball. It's a tough ball, but it's a catchable football. It's in the hands of the receiver.
Rodgers hit his first 2 passes of the night, and he has missed on the last 5. 7th in the nation in passing efficiency, leading 67.5% of his passes this year. Wow, there's a late hit that came right into your screen. Naziruddin, but no flag thrown. Arrington carried out to the 50-yard line. Now there is a flag on the play.
Dead ball. Personal foul, number 26. 15 yards. Automatic first down.
Texas Tech's defense, they're going to try to stunt with only a few guys up there. You'll see a lot of the crossing that they do. They don't want to stand still. Mike Smith, 46, when they get up in there, they had better make the play and make it quick, because if they don't, Arrington's going to hurt them. You give that guy downhill 3 or 4 yard start, Sean, and it's going to be out to the horse races.
Naziruddin, who walked on in January, transferred in from Howard Payne College in Abilene. He was a 3rd-team quarterback in spring ball, but by the start of the regular season had earned the starting quarterback job. Beat out a returning starter, Jabari Smith. That was a dumb play by Khalid. Rodgers dumps it short. Plenty of space for Arrington. He's tripped up, but it looked like he would run into the end zone. A 30-yard gain. He was upended, and they'll spot the ball at the 5-yard line.
One of the better players on Texas Tech's defense. Here he is, 46 in the middle. You see him, Mike Smith. He just misses his blow to Arrington. If that's your man, you better find a way to cover him. And in our opinion up here, I think we would both agree, Mike Smith's a heck of a football player, but J.J. Arrington in an open space is going to win that battle.
Smith was rushing the passer, it appeared. We ran right by Arrington as he came out and went off toward Rodgers. 1st and goal for Cal, trying to tie it up. Arrington down to the 2. Among his many skills, Craig, they tell us he really wears out the defense. Matter of fact, he's in such good shape and so powerful. Coach Tedford said usually in the 4th quarter he's running even more powerfully and physically than he is earlier in the game.
And you add to the fact the mental energy expended on this Tech defense tonight, trying to figure out formations and who's eligible and not eligible. All the shifting that takes place, it's a challenge physically and mentally.
Well on his way to his 12th straight 100-yard rushing game. He has 53 yards rushing on 6 carries. Extra tight ends in. Arrington batted away. Touchdown is the signal from the official on the far sideline. The signal touchdown. Boy, was that close. The Red Raiders sideline doesn't like it. They thought they had a fumble recovery with the ball going the other way. Sylvester Brinkley batted the ball out of the hands of Arrington, but it's a touchdown for J.J.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, you look from the side here in the football, the leap, 3 yards out. There it is. Ball's across. It broke the plane. Touchdown. Well, that's a risky deal, though. You know, that's not taught by most running back coaches, to extend with a football open like that. You want to get up in there, turn your shoulders, and dive. That's a risky play.
15th rushing touchdown of the season for Arrington. Tom Schneider added the extra point. That is a single season record now for Arrington all by himself with 15 rushing TDs. He had been tied for Cal's single season record with Lindsey Chapman and Russell White. 7-7 in the first quarter in San Diego. Cal with the equalizing touchdown from J.J. Arrington. The senior from Nashville, North Carolina, a rural town of about 4,000. Junior college transfer. And what a season he has had as a senior. Chance to make history here tonight. Rush for over 2,000 yards. It's already broken Chuck Muncie's single season Cal rushing yardage total. Danny Amendola, true freshman, trying to take it across the field. He brought it out to the 21-yard line. Mike McGrath, one of their special team standouts, with another tackle.
Sean, it's almost like running backs are sitting at home watching all this bowl stuff action take place on ESPN, because we've seen a lot of footballs going to the end zone and right at the plane, stretching, reaching, balls coming loose. Sometimes touchdown, sometimes not. That was a touchdown, but it's like these guys, it's like in vogue now that you want to reach out with that football. Unless you got Shaq O'Neal's hands, I'd keep it next to my underarm.
Four wide receivers. And the quick throw out to Nehemiah Glover. Trying to find some running room. He was patient and got a couple extra yards. Yeah, we talked about, Craig, the difficulty in describing this. It's not West Coast. It's not run and shoot. It has a little bit of the BYU pass offense from the early and mid 80s when they were in their heyday, won a national championship here in the Holiday Bowl. Mike Leach was a student at BYU, wasn't on the football team. He was a rugby player. But I think what Mike says the philosophy is use the whole field. So we want to attack everywhere we can on the field, and we want to get the ball in the hands of all of our players who can touch the ball. Use everybody and attack the entire field. That really is the philosophy, and it's worked so well.
And you see those two backs in the backfield? That's that BYU influence right there.
Joey Hawkins the catch. And he was tackled quickly by Francis Blimeza. Hawkins, tight end. He's a senior from Hurst, Texas, just his 16th career reception, only the 6th this year.
Those two backs in the backfield with a wide cross coming across. That's the BYU influence that Mike Leach was talking to us about. And, you know, about a third of the time they'll have two backs in the backfield, but he gives you just enough looks. And as you say, it's a defensive coordinator's nightmare trying to figure out who's coming out, where are you. It's you know, very, very tough on the recognition.
Just a couple of inches short.
And this is where it for Mike Leach, two backs really doesn't mean it's a run necessarily. I mean, for these guys in this offense, you run a little 1 or 2 yard out and you flood the zones underneath, somebody will be open. And Sonny Cumbie's been very good if he's given the time. He's very good at finding that underneath receiver.
Johnny Mack in now behind Cumbie. The lone back. They do have the fullback Clay McGuire on the field, lined up to the right. And it's Mack, and he is stopped. Brandon Mebane certainly knew that was coming. He came across the line of scrimmage like he was shot out of a cannon, and Mack had no chance. It's 4th down and still no sign of the punting team.
And you know what? That's why I wasn't even talking to you about a run here. I assumed they were going to throw the ball. I don't think Texas Tech can walk up to the line of scrimmage and say, hey, I'm going to knock you in the mouth and knock you off the ball. Cal's a very physical, talented defense.
After some hesitation, Alex Reyes, the punter, is on the field. Sophomore from Allen, Texas. Hunts it away to Tim Mixon. Good kick, driving spiral. Mixon back to the 22. And he's tackled with a flag down at the 35-yard line, a 13-yard return. Jabari Smith made the tackle. 50-yard punt. Let's check out the flag thrown just as Mixon was tackled.
I don't know what took him so long to make the call from up here, like a clip all the way.
There's no flag on the play.
Missed it.
13 yards.
Tomorrow's a full day of Capital One Bowl week. Another full day on ESPN, highlighted by 2 more great games at 3:30 Eastern. 2 more of the top scoring teams in Division 1A take on each other. As undefeated Boise State meets Louisville with just 1 loss in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Then at 7:30 Eastern, Florida and Miami. What a matchup in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. Florida trying to defeat both Florida State and Miami in the same season for the first time since 1985.
One of those sort of little smack talking going on down there. It's those guys have known each other. Most of those players played against each other since junior high.
Cal back on offense in a 7-7 tie. Rodgers almost went down, but put his hand down to stay up. And his pass complete to McConan. Aziruddin there to make the tackle, but it's a 9-yard gain for Jonathan McConan. I know somebody who'll be watching that Boise State game tomorrow is Heather Cox.
You got that right, but right now we got a pretty good one here. You know, I talked to Aaron Rodgers about playing with the different receiving corps. He said, hey, it's like 2 different seasons. The first half of the season, I knew the receivers like the back of my hand. They were true veterans. The second half, it's been like fall camp. I've had to stroke them, give these young guys confidence. They don't even know where the soft spots in the zones are, things like that. I've got to keep it simple.
He's been leaning heavily on McConan so far. He says he does have a comfort zone with McConan. Said Jonathan's a great route runner. There's Harrington tripped up, but it looks like he might go a while longer. Brock Stratton prevented the huge gain. It is a 10-yard run and a first down for the Golden Bears.
You know, there's plenty of blocking going on here. Adale Duckett gets blocked from the outside in. Mike Smith, 46. The right guard comes out, pushes him to the outside, and just way too much space. Texas Tech can't afford to receive the blockers of Cal. There has to be some guessing, some penetration. They can't get hung up on blocks because Arrington's so good with his eyes.
Excellent block by Ryan O'Callahan, the junior, 6'7", 340. He was first team All Pac-10 this year. Second-year starter. Another big hole. Here's Arrington into the corner. J.J. Arrington pulled down to the 12-yard line by a face mask. They'll add to the end of the run. Antonio Huckman doing all he could to prevent the touchdown. Arrington down by the headgear after a 34-yard gain.
On the run, personal foul, face mask, half the distance of the roll, automatic, first down, number 21.
And you see the blocking and all the sill work that has taken place. They're covered up. There's nowhere for a tech guy to come off. Andrew Cameron, left tackle on Adale Duckett. You look at the footwork of those offensive linemen. They're keeping their feet moving, short, choppy steps. They're balanced. They're not crossing them over. Texas Tech, they better not sit there like that for the rest of this night. It's going to be a 400-yard rushing performance.
Another timeout used on defense by the Red Raiders. Arrington trying to move up the list. He should go past Ricky Bell with the way he's going tonight. He has 81 yards rushing right now here in the first quarter. Well on his way to his 12th consecutive 100-yard rushing game. And as we mentioned, only 2 men, Marcus Allen in his Heisman Trophy year of 1981 and Charles White, have rushed for 2,000 in a season in the Pac-10.
He came onto the scene, like you said. He hasn't been here a long time, but his presence has been felt. The thing about J.J. Arrington, normally it's the 3rd and 4th quarter where he gets off, but he started out early here in this one. Texas Tech. I'm having our time with that. Texas Tech.
And you're from Texas.
What the heck? Hey, man, how about Tech's defense? They've tried to shift up front. They've tried to stay pat. They cannot figure out how to stop Arrington. My guess would be this. I would do this. I would have my defense up, everybody to stop it. I would say, okay, if you're going to beat me, you beat me with these receivers that nobody knows about. And there's no receiver at Cal right now that can blaze past me anyway.
Saw the consecutive 100-yard rushing games. The record at Cal had been 4 straight 100-yard rushing games. So J.J. certainly shattered that. It was set by Chuck Muncie, who did it twice back in the mid-70s. Arrington averaging 167.7 yards per game. That's second in the nation behind the talented freshman in North Texas, Jamario Thomas, who averages 190 per game. His season is over after a trip to the New Orleans Bowl.
This Tech defense, again, is a defense that's not built around stopping the run. I mean, it's not like they're facing USC or Oklahoma right now. So there's a big difference here. But at some point, you need to improve on stopping Arrington before he gets started.
As you see, they've had problems in rush defense, and they're facing one of the best running teams in the nation. Cal 5th in the nation at 260 rushing yards per game. Marshaun Lynch still fighting. And it's a touchdown for California. Fifth rushing touchdown of the season, a 5-yard run rather. 8th rushing touchdown of the season for Marshaun Lynch. And that's on just 69 carries this year. 8 touchdowns. Cal leads for the first time tonight as Tom Schneider, the redshirt freshman, added the extra point. 4 plays, 65 yards. Took just a minute and 29 seconds for the touchdown for the Bears.
Marshaun Lynch scores, but it's this offensive line that's taken over the Tech's defensive line. And look at the effort of Marshaun Lynch. These are fresh legs. He's been over on the sidelines. Look at the legs continue. If you don't get to the ball carrier's legs, he's not going to stop. And that's running behind your pads, keeping the defenders off your legs where you can keep the legs pumping. Tech's defense just a little bit tired. Of course, Arrington, along with Lynch, pretty impressive 1-2 punch. Kids, that's called pad height. Playing right, playing with leverage.
They average 6.1 yards per rush for the year. California, #1 in the country.
That's a lot.
It sure is. They've already rushed for 98 yards tonight as a team. They're still in the first quarter. And Loney, the punter, will pick off.
Also back in number 20, Danny Amendola.
Johnny Mack and Danny Amendola back for the kickoff. The average per rush tonight for Cal is 8.2. Kickoff down to the goal line to Johnny Mack. And he gets robbed at the 15-yard line. Terrell Williams back in his native San Diego. Wow, what a blow he delivered to Mack.
If there's any question about Cal now waking up and having a little excitement and enthusiasm, you can forget about it. Texas Tech now better figure it out, because that Cal Bear defense and offensive line, now whether they had a little sleepover effect about that BCS, you can forget about that. They're here to play.
Under duress, throws, has his man, and it's dropped. And now they ruled an incomplete pass. Jared Hicks had it hit him right in the chest. It looked like he had turned to run. Maybe he was bobbling it the entire way. The officials pondered a moment and then ruled it incomplete.
And you know what, Jared Hicks, they've got to come down with this play. This is one of those when you get the ball, receivers have to finish the play, make the play. He can't. He turns up the field. Just can't make the completion.
9
second and 10. Coming. That one is caught. They hang on to it for a first down. Nehemiah Glover out to the 28-yard line for a 13-yard pickup. And what might be the last play of the first quarter. They stopped the clock for a moment to move the chains.
Did you see the strength of that arm and how Cumby stood in the pocket with pressure coming all around him? The quick, strong release. And I would say a pretty darn big play here in this game early on for them.
And they do not get another snap off before the end of the first quarter.
And that is the end of the first quarter.
Texas Tech and California, plenty of fireworks as expected at the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. Pacific Life Holiday Bowl here in San Diego. 21 points on the board, 228 yards of total offense between these two teams in the first quarter. Cal leads 14-7. First and 10 for Texas Tech on their own 28. Sonny Cumbie throws short. A 4-yard gain to the 32 into the hands of Trey Haverty. Haverty's a fifth-year senior. He's waited patiently. They had a great trio of receivers last year: Wes Welker, Carlos Francis, and Mickey Peters. So Haverty had to wait behind them. Welker and Francis went on to the NFL with the Dolphins and Raiders, respectively. They tell us Mickey Peters is out of football after a prolific pass-catching career in Lubbock. And a completion for a first down. It's Haverty again. On the bench in all Big 12 this season. Here's our hometown hero, presented by Applebee's. Jarrell Williams, who just excited his fellow San Diegans with that big hit on kick coverage. And he's dangerous. He's a running back, but he was a quarterback in high school, and he's thrown 5 passes in his career and completed 4 of them. They tell us he's a left-hander. So if you see him in there tonight in the backfield, it's a possibility of a halfback option pass. That's a play Coach Tedford likes. Both of these head coaches called the plays, with help obviously from their assistants. Low throw caught by Joel Falani, and right now they're going to the dink and dunk attack.
But that's smart. You know what? It kind of controls the clock, doesn't it? Because J.J. Arrington is pounding them when he has the ball. So you go dink and dunk, you get a little rhythm going again. You take the pressure off Cumbie because Cal's defense has been in the backfield.
Second and 5 at the 44-yard line.
Second and 5 for the Red Raiders. Cumbie looked like a lateral, and a good catch made by Torian Henderson. And he'll catch the ball. As a freshman 2 years ago, he had 98 catches to set the NCAA record for catches by a freshman. Last year really dropped off, Craig. He only caught 78 passes out of the backfield.
How about this offense, though? You know, if you're a receiver or a quarterback and you like to catch the ball, this is the place to go.
Mike Leach says Henderson is as versatile as anybody in the country. Third down and 4. The Bears show blitz. They rush 5. Cumbie with time throws it. And it is caught in traffic by Trey Haverty. What a catch. He had Matt Giordano, the safety, right on him, and Haverty hauled it in for 35 all the way to the Cal 17-yard line.
Tech wide receivers are kind of like the little guy who goes to the line, to the free throw line and makes 99 out of 100. They are good at finishing plays. This is an extremely difficult catch that Haverty has to focus on. Giordano's there, but that ball over the right shoulder like that, trying to run and look back like that, it's kind of like walking and shooting bubble gum for you.
Haverty, a walk-on who earned a scholarship. These receivers call themselves the Afros at Texas Tech. There's a catch for another first down. It's Haverty again. That stands for America's Finest Receivers on Saturdays, the Afros. And right now, Haverty is an outstanding receiver.
None of them have an afro.
No.
Hey, this is a football game here. The Red Raiders came out. They struck first with Haverty on the touchdown to Hicks. Hicks comes in, scores, but you know what? Aaron Rodgers answered the call, and they took over as well.
9-0 Mike, J.J. Arrington scored the touchdown that he just did get across the line. Then Marshaun Lynch scored another from in close. Haverty 4 receptions on this drive for 59 yards. They try to surprise him with a run. Mike Leach says, I do have to call a running play every now and then. Henderson stopped by Brandon Mebane.
Leach gets that look about him when you ask him a question, and that would be one of those. If we ask him, hey, do you like to run the ball, he'd like squint like, yeah, I just ate a lemon, you know. And, well,
he always has that look on his face.
Yeah.
But what you mentioned earlier, what a fascinating man to speak to, and what an interesting life he has led. The fade too high for Glover. Mike Leach never played college football. He's one of only 4 head coaches in Division I-A. He did play in high school. He played rugby at BYU, played semi-pro baseball when he was in law school at Pepperdine. He has a law degree. He coached in Finland for 1 year in 1989. That was his first head coaching job. He's, as you said, a connoisseur of fine art. I mean, it wasn't a subject that came up the other night that he didn't know something about.
He started talking about artwork and Picasso's and all. He looked at me like I was going to finish a sentence. He couldn't remember a guy's name. I was like, hey, all I know is I don't understand.
He said Jackson Pollock, and you said, which team has he played for? Here's a pick. And it is almost intercepted, intended for Jared Hicks. Harrison Smith broke it up. Bob Gregory, the defensive coordinator, said Harrison Smith can knock them all down. He just can't catch them. He's broken up 15 passes this year that leads the Pac-10. He said he's really good at knocking the ball down.
What a reputation to have with your staff.
You know, it's better than, you can't even knock him down. The other guy catches him. There's a field goal try. This really rankles Coach Leach. He hates to send the field goal kicker out. Alex Trelica, a 22-yard field goal attempt. He's 6 for 11 this year. And it is right down the middle.
The 22-yard field goal attempt is good by Alex Trelica.
Under 12 to go in the first half. A 4-point lead for the 4th-ranked team in the country. Alex Trelica booted one right down the middle from 22 yards to get them within 4. But if there was any question about whether or not it was right down the middle, we have new technology. Craig and I have invented something called kick track. Actually, we didn't invent this, as I'm sure America figured out. It's like the K zone in baseball. It tells you exactly where the football is as it goes through, as it sort of breaks the plane of the uprights, and it extends the uprights up. So if there's any question, as there sometimes is, did that ball go over the upright? Was it really between them? We have the technology tonight to figure that out.
It's like the National League strike zone, right? Isn't that a little bit bigger zone over there? Or would that be American League?
They now use the same umpires in both leagues.
I know.
It was in all the papers.
I was reading the football papers, I guess.
Keith Toogood kicks off. And the kickoff is not too good. Down to the 15-yard line to Marshaun Lynch. And look at him fight. Well, if you thought the Bears might not be fired up because they wanted to go to the Rose Bowl, that question's been answered tonight. Tremendous effort by Lynch to run it out across the 35-yard line.
Young man's got some talent. Again, asked Aaron Rodgers about his pro career and, this decision and all. And he says, well, I know the answer to that, but I'm not sure I'm going to share it with y'all in this game, but it will come shortly. But I asked him, I said, hey, you ought to go to make sure wherever you go, you have a J.J. Arrington. And he goes, hey, how about Marshaun? So the guy obviously has a lot of talent, and tonight wouldn't be surprised to see him lined up wide, a whole lot like Reggie Bush is used at USC.
Rodgers under pressure, steps up. Boy, has a great feel in that pocket. And a long pass is batted away. It was intended for Jonathan McConan. And Josh Rangel knocked it down. This is the 20th anniversary of the 1984 Holiday Bowl when BYU was playing for what would likely be the national championship if they won. They came in undefeated. Robbie Bosco was heroic, playing on a badly injured ankle. He limped around all night long under pressure from the Michigan Wolverines. BYU under coach Lavelle Edwards, the 24-17 win over Bo Schembechler and Michigan, and they did win the national championship. We congratulate Coach Edwards on his induction recently into the College Football Hall of Fame. Obviously very well deserved. Pass out to David Bray. He's another of the newcomers who's seen more playing time in recent weeks due to the injuries. And speaking of Coach Edwards, the legendary mentor is with Heather Cox.
Definitely with 2 of the stars of that national championship team. Coach Edwards, you led the BYU program for nearly 30 years. What type of emotions got stirred up being back on this field where you won that national championship?
It was so exciting, and this is the same sideline that we were on 20 years ago, and I guess we were here a lot during that period of time, and to come down here on the field and watch them warm up and whatever, it's very exciting.
Now, Coach Leach of Texas Tech is a BYU grad, 83, didn't play football, but did tell me yesterday a lot of his offense come from the golden age of BYU football. Do you see glimpses of your offense here tonight?
Well, they spread out a little bit more, but the plays are the same, and you know, the pass actions, and they just do it a little bit differently than what we did, but it does, yeah, and that's very exciting to watch. They're a very exciting football team.
Coach, congratulations on an incredible career, especially that exciting game led by their quarterback, Robbie Bosco, and one of the gutsiest performances we've seen in the history of college football. Severely sprained your ankle, returned to the game. What stands out to you? I mean, when you look back at that, do you wonder how you did it?
Well, I wonder how our whole team did it. You know, we turned the ball over 6 times, and to be able to come back and beat a good Michigan team was amazing, so it felt good to win that game.
Robbie, your defensive MVP, Leon White, told me that when you came back, you changed the complexion of the game and gave this team hope. Did you understand the type of importance and the role that you played at the time in that game?
Well, not so much what I played, but, you know, going through the whole year playing with this team, and I knew it meant a lot to the school and everything, so it wasn't something I was going to miss. I was going to be out there no matter what it took.
With the gutsy performance, congratulations. And guys, BYU made a coaching change this year. They're certainly hoping to get back to that golden age of BYU football in the mid-'80s.
Bronco Mendenhall taking over for Gary Croton. His offensive coordinator will be Robert Anai, who was on that team for BYU, an offensive lineman in 1984. He's the O-line coach for Texas Tech right now. This will be his last game. There's an interception, deflected and into the hands of Vincent Meeks. He's picking up a blocker, but Rodgers managed to slow him down. The blocker missed Rodgers. That gave Aaron a chance to slow him down, and then more help came to the rescue. Marshaun Lynch took Meeks out of bounds at the 22-yard line, but that's a 50-yard interception return, and a very rare interception thrown by Rodgers. He has the lowest interception percentage in Pac-10 history. Came into the night with only 12 career interceptions. Well, more than 600 passes.
Of course, this one here, Robert Jordan, the ball is tipped off of his hands. That's the way we talk, and it's not. And Vincent Meeks is there reading the quarterback's eyes. He was back deep enough to come forward at a time when Texas Tech really needed a big kind of boost from their defense.
And a timeout called by Cal. A quick transition to defense, and they weren't ready for it. Each team with one timeout left with more than 10 minutes to go in the half.
ESPN's presentation of the 2004 Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. Brought to you by Pacific Life, proud sponsor of the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. And in part by Pontiac and the first ever G6, the next official performance machine of the NCAA.
William Craig James Estate. Actually, that's the Hotel Del Coronado. The Del, built in 1988, a historic national landmark designated as such in 1977. USA Today named it one of the top 10 resorts in the world. Looks like a nice place.
Very nice.
A little too fancy for us. Sonny Cumby dumps it off. It's Johnny Mack. Inside the 10, down at the 8-yard line. Ryan Gutierrez made the tackle to save the touchdown. A 14-yard play on the screen.
Manuel Ramirez, the right guard, 63, did a heck of a job. One of the strongest guys on the football team that time is the guy who allowed the run to happen. This Tech offensive line did a pretty darn good job of recognizing Cal. Cal's trying to confuse him a few times, standing up, moving around.
Four wide receivers, first and goal from the 8. They got down here in their last possession. It bogged down. They had to kick a field goal. They tried to sneak in and run, and Mack did a good job to bounce off the pile and get 3. Wendell Hunter made the tackle. The interception by Meeks set this up. He likes the bowl action. 2 years ago when they routed Clemson in the Tangerine Bowl, he had 2 interceptions in that ball game.
You know, you could probably tell me what the guy, knowing how you do your research, what he did in 5th grade the first year he played in the city championship game.
He wasn't good. He was a late bloomer, actually. Texas. was wide open. And Texas Tech reclaims the lead on the second touchdown catch of the night for Jared Hicks. This one a 5-yarder. His first catch was for 9 yards and a touchdown. Adds to a single season Texas Tech touchdown reception record. Trelika kicks the extra point. After the interception, they needed just 3 plays to go the 22 yards. Took 1 minute and 11 seconds. Cumbie is 31st touchdown pass of the season. We're talking about records. He's not going to catch B.J. Simmons in his 52 touchdown passes from a year ago tonight. Cliff Kingsbury threw 45 in 2002. So here's a guy who's thrown 31 touchdown passes, Craig, and he's way behind the guys the last 2 years.
But you know what? They all call him and they support him and they encourage him. He was patient. He waited his time.
His only opportunity for a scholarship out of high school was Tarleton State in Texas.
It's over in Stephenville, Texas. Nice little area.
Exactly where that is.
Yes, it's kind of south and west of Fort Worth, which would be kind of where you and I were the other day, where we froze.
Yes.
Part of your life is still in Fort Worth. You were so close. Yeah, I know your feet are there, Worth.
Marshaun Lynch.
Frostbite. The sunny Cumbie decided, no, I'll go to Texas Tech as a walk-on, about an hour and a half from home. He waited behind Kingsbury and Simmons. He talks to both of them every week. Kingsbury is now on the practice squad of the New Orleans Saints. B.J. Simmons on the injured list for the Houston Texans. Line drive kickoff by Too Good goes out of bounds. He has not lived up to his name in the kickoffs tonight. He was their starting field goal kicker at the beginning of the year, but injured an ankle.
I rule the ball will be placed on the 35-yard line. First down.
And he lost that place kicking job to Trelika.
You know, we talk about Sonny Cumbie. He should have one more touchdown pass in this game. You'll see earlier in the game back here, the previous series where they went with a field goal, he's open. Hicks is open on the inside, and Cumbie tried to force it to the outside. This is the touchdown that we just were able to see. The same play, gets back to the middle. So the communication on the sideline between Cumbie and his wide receivers is something that Cal doesn't have. Rodgers doesn't have that kind of familiarity with his receivers because they're all banged up.
Cal's thrown for just 67 yards tonight. Rodgers' numbers did come down over the second half of the season with the injuries to his great wide receiving core, particularly McCarthy, with 202 career catches. Arrington rumbles for 14 more. And that gets him over 100 for the 12th game in a row, adding to his Cal record. 103 yards rushing for J.J. Arrington.
He is right now just toying. Look at the linebacker, Brock Stratton, 45, just running. You know, he's trying to get on his horse to get out there. He's avoiding his responsibility. And, you know, Coach Satensich over there, you know that he wants to go in and tell his guys, play your gap responsibilities.
Here's Arrington trying to bounce outside. He was forced down by Brock Stratton. Helm from Fletcher Session. They were a terrible defense last year. That's the word Coach Setensich used, the defensive coordinator, to describe the defense last year. They had a lot of young players. It was a new system, and they were just bad. You mentioned one of the worst in the country, 110th overall. More experience, another year in the system. They moved all the way up to 42nd in the country in total D this year.
Vanilla would be a strong adjective to describe what they used to do on defense. Now they have a lot more variations to their schemes.
Rodgers comes a lot short, and Marshaun Lynch cannot escape. Duncan made the first hit. Fletcher Session rallied to his aid. And a loss on the play back to the 49-yard line. And Cal, here's how the Cardinals.
During the last series, Cal left tackle Andrew Cameron got poked in the eye. He came off the field. Paul Franey took his place. Now, Cameron has received eye drops and hopes that it's going to be okay to play. What they've done is they've added a face shield and a visor to his helmet. He's back on the field, obviously an important position for Aaron Rodgers to have success.
I don't know about you, Sean, but eye drops never helped me when my eye got poked in.
Robert Jordan went in motion. Rodgers flush from the pocket, steps right up to the line, has a man open. It is incomplete. Looking for David Gray. The ball hung in the air for just a moment. Vincent Meeks closed the ground. Gray was behind him, but as the ball was traveling through the air, Meeks got back there to prevent the touchdown.
David Gray is running wide open down the field, and what a job by Meeks, number one, to go back to just try to get in the way of the vision of the ball. Just the throw just a little bit off on that.
A little short.
A little short, and so it's being let go, get it down the field.
There's the punt for David Loney, 25-year-old Australian. He was at Ellsworth Community College in Iowa Falls, Iowa last year. Amendola let it bounce, and the Golden Bears touch it down near the 5-yard line. Donnie McCleskey down there. The first to touch after a 41-yard punt. Underdog Red Raiders of Texas Tech with the ball in a 3-point lead under 7 minutes to go in the first half here at the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. Sean McDonough, Craig James, and Heather Cox. Delighted to have you with us for this Big 12 Pac-10 matchup. Sonny Cumbie, the 23-year-old, throws deep, has a receiver. Now it's a foot race, and the ball is stripped. Joel Falani lost it. It's still free, and it's picked up by Harrison Smith. After each team had a shot at the free ball, finally it was Smith who picked it up at the 28-yard line. Damian Hughes knocked it away. It was a 60-yard play, but the Red Raiders turned it over.
Which way did he go? That's like who's on first, who's on second, put a little grease on the pig, let it go. Big play coming from the 5-10-yard line for Texas Tech. And they were expecting big plays out of Glover. Hughes comes in with a nice strip from behind, and then it's just a loose ball. It's go for the football, and who's down the field. Several players had a chance at it, but Harrison Smith comes up with it. I mean, as a receiver, you've got to know.
That was Jacob Hicks, who had great hustle, but he couldn't pick it up for Texas Tech when he slid into the ball. Each team with one turnover. Cal has it back. And Arrington goes to the 30-yard line. Well, it's clear that the big problem for Cal so far tonight is the continuing absence of Jeff McCarthy and Chase Lyman. Let's get more on that from Heather Cox.
Thanks so much, Sean. Jeff McCarthy, this has got to be so frustrating for you. Actually, your second consecutive bowl game out with an injury. How difficult emotionally is this for you tonight?
You know, going through the week, it was pretty easy because I knew what it was going. I knew what it would be like. But towards the end of the week, it got really difficult. Just seeing the guys get ready for the game and watching the highlight tape and pregame, it was pretty emotional. And I just told my guys, to just go out there and play with heart and play like each play, like it should last.
After the ball went through Robert Jordan's hand, I saw you on the bench consoling him. What were you telling him?
I just told him, there's a lot of football left, and everybody goes through struggles, but it's how do you deal with that, and how do you come back after that? So I just asked him if he can reveal himself to me. I told him I want to see who the real Robert Jordan is, and I think he's going to show me.
Yeah, I think we'll see it later. Good luck to you. Congratulations on a great career. Also joined by Chase Lynham, tore his ACL against USC. Obviously, want to know, how is the rehab progressing?
It's going really well. It's moving along real fast. I'm ahead of schedule. I've been running a little bit, and I'm just a couple weeks away from missing this game, so it's going well.
You've certainly been using a lot of J.J. Arrington in this game. How much does the passing game have to be successful, do you think, in order for this team to win?
We'll start clicking. Came out a little slow, but these young receivers are plenty talented, and they'll start making some plays in the second half.
Down here on the bench, how have you been able to emotionally help them, and what type of guidance have you given them?
We just make sure they stay in the game and don't get too down, and like I said, they got plenty of talent, and then it's only a matter of time before they start clicking.
All right, Chase, we certainly hope that you have a speedy recovery as well, and good luck to you both. Sean?
Chase was injured in that USC game. He was averaging 103 receiving yards per game and 29 yards per catch at the time of that injury. After the setback, he went to Dawson. Another punt for Loney, and he gets a nice roll all the way to the 19-yard line, a 46-yard punt for the California Golden Bears.
26 yards on that one.
Accomplished athlete back home in Australia. He was a national caliber decathlete. Played water polo, soccer, an avid water skier and snowboarder, and he's a real character. He is new in their program, but he has quickly won over a lot of people in Berkeley with his personality.
Well, Loney Baloney on the punts. I mean, they're not deep, and if I'm Texas Tech, get up there and catch the ball. Don't let it hit the ground and roll. Texas Tech, baby.
There you go. 5 times fast. Whoever they are, they lead by 3. Cumby. Nice touch on that throw. Here we go again. It's Haverty. Goes out of bounds. They had him matched up on a linebacker. But he's able to run him down. I think one thing we've seen, these guys are shifty, they get open, but there's not a lot of great breakaway speed in that receiving core for Texas Tech. A 38-yard gain by Haverty.
Shot about 3 series ago. Cal's defensive front was all over Tech in the backfield. Riddle's one of those players for Cal that has to get to the quarterback. And right now, they are guessing at Cal. They're not quite sure if the dink and dunk is going to get them or the long ball. Now we've seen 2 long pass plays by Tech's offense.
This is a Cal defense, 13th in the nation in total defense and 4th in scoring defense. They give up only 13.4 points per game. They're giving up 17 already here in the first half. Another good throw and catch and another first down. Down to the 26-yard line goes Cody Fuller. His first catch of the night, 42nd of the year for Fuller, who is also the starting center fielder on the Texas Tech baseball team.
Well, they're playing baseball right now. They're called knuckling it up. The defensive line is trying to make movement, and the blocking of Tech's offensive line is just bunching them up. The timing is there between the receiver and the quarterback. Cal's front just can't figure out the combination to get to the backfield.
Not a lot of superstar players on this Cal defense. Both coaches said, both coaching staffs said the Cal defense plays very well together. They're having trouble at the moment, all getting on the same page to stop this Red Raider offense. Torian Henderson down to the 10 with another first down. Wendell Hunter made the tackle. 16 yards on the run for the junior from Gatesville, Texas, Torian Henderson.
The Texas Tech offensive lineman split is almost shoulder to shoulder. And I think that's really wigging out Cal's defense. They talked so much, Sean, this week about how they were going to play in open space. And it's really, they have not made the adjustment yet tonight.
And it falls on Bob Gregory, the defensive coordinator, one of the best defensive coaches in the country. He's one of the finalists for the Royals Award to go to the top assistant coach in college football. Here's Henderson, good footwork. Here he is, out of bounds. Shy of the end zone. We'll see where they'll mark it. They don't quite have the first down either. And Mike Leach has them inside the 3-yard line. Looking at a 10-point lead if they can punch it in. 9 yards on this play.
You know what? They've really now taken all the guess out of what they're trying to accomplish. He does step out of bounds right there at the 3, but I think Torian Henderson has proven that in open space that this Tech group has the ability to make big plays, and they're taking the wrong angles from the secondary trying to tackle. There's more speed there.
2nd and 1 for a first down. 2.5 for a touchdown. He's 19 out of 26. He's passed for 263 already, and they weren't on the same page there. Trying to throw a fade to Jared Hicks, who had stopped. That's an interesting call because you're 2nd and 1, Craig. If you pound it in there with the run, maybe a first down, maybe you'll get a touchdown. Now a little more urgency on 3rd down.
I learned from Lou Holtz. He preached long and hard about if it's 2nd and 1, go get a first down. Don't be cute. Go get your first down.
Henderson the lone back. 4 wide receivers, 3 to the right. Henderson, touchdown, Red Raiders. Seven straight games with a rushing touchdown. That is his 46th career touchdown. He's 3rd among all active players in the country now in career touchdowns. Only Cedric Benson and Darren Sproles of Texas and Kansas State respectively have more. The extra point is good for Alex Trelica. The Red Raiders, 10-point underdog, lead by 10. 46 career touchdown for Torian Henderson. Only James Gray has more in the history of Texas Tech football. He scored 52 back in the late 80s, and Henderson has a year of eligibility left. 81-yard drive on just 6 plays, and they needed only a minute and 21 to do it. That is a typical Texas Tech strike.
I like the way you say Texas Tech.
I can say it.
I'm listening. It's that Tech defense that has a turnover. The offense responded. Cal's not taking advantage of the turnover.
Well, they changed kickoff men after Toogood had some problems. Trelica kicks off this time. Marshaun Lynch picks his way and battles. Out to the 26. Let's check in with Reese Davis.
All right, Sean, coming up on the Crestor halftime report, Trev and Mark are here with me. We'll show you a little Naval Academy history, have the very latest on the talks that will likely send Randy Johnson to the Yankees, and also perhaps the best call of the bowl season as BC meets the new neighbors.
You know, I'll tell you about the best pure pass rusher in the country, and he played in the Continental Bowl today. I wonder if you know who it is, Craig.
And we'll break down the Liberty Bowl, and I'll tell you why Louisville will end the nation's longest winning streak in house.
That's the longest winning streak right there. It's going to go down. It's going to come to an end.
Told you.
Okay, we shall see. See you in a little bit, Sean.
All right, Reese, thank you.
Professor May, I cannot wait to learn from the man.
You're all about learning, Craig.
Absolutely, every moment of the day. That's why they put me with you.
Rodgers 7 out of 15 passing. Throws too high. Looking for Robert Jordan, the true freshman. Well, congratulations to Boston College. Saw it earlier today. A winner in hostile territory in Charlotte against the University of North Carolina. One of the great shots of Capital One Bowl League was Paul Peterson, their courageous quarterback, clapping right after he had broken his leg and left the game when BC scored a fake field goal in the very next play.
A lot of courage in that, and you know, that is a strong finish for Boston College.
I think that's 5 straight years winning a bowl game for the Eagles. Rodgers a little shorter this time for the completion. Jonathan McCollum, who has been injury plagued in his career, missed 6 games this year with a hamstring and most recently with a bruised liver. That does not sound very pleasant. Senior from Menlo Park, California. Was their leading receiver in 2002, the first year of Coach Tedford, when he had 54 receptions.
So he has the ability. That's why Aaron Rodgers is looking for him to make some plays in the game.
Rodgers hit as he threw, and no indication it was an incomplete pass, and now they blow the whistle. They'll duck it. Hit the yard. After some deliberation, the officials finally said incomplete pass. The Texas Tech fans don't like it.
Was his arm going forward?
No.
That's a fumble.
That is a fumble.
That's a fumble all the way.
And you could tell they weren't sure about it because nobody was blowing the whistle while the ball was rolling on the ground. Nobody singled incomplete pass.
That ball comes out on the backswing there. That's why I'm a big fan that everybody, given an opportunity, should have instant replay in college football.
So the possession stays alive and they capitalize. That could be a big call. As the completion goes to Robert Jordan for 11 yards out to the 50-yard line. And a first down as we tick down here 2 minutes left. Saturday, ESPN has the Outback Bowl at 11 a.m. That's Eastern time. A pair of 9-2 teams that are ranked in the top 20 of the nation. Georgia and Wisconsin. Coverage begins with Chris Lee and Kirk breaking down all of the New Year's Day games on College Game Day, built by the Home Depot at 9:30 a.m. Eastern.
Pretty good time of the season, isn't it? You and I head to the Rose Bowl tomorrow.
Coming to an end.
Man, it's weird.
We're not far away from the end of this college football season. A history-making season for Cal, but they don't want to have it end with a major thud here tonight. Rodgers dropped it to 42-yard line. A little bit short of the first down. Adele Duckett
Aaron
made the
Rodgers.
tackle, the senior from Mineral Wells, Texas. First team All Big 12 this year.
Adele Duckett.
Last season he had 14 sacks, but the coaches said it was possible he could have a better year this year, not have as many sacks. That was the case.
Well, he's having his way right
Second
now.
down and 2. They move the ball to the 42-yard line.
Duckett goes off on 2nd and short. Second and 2. The pitch back to Arrington. He's swiped and now he's dead. Dante Dawson made a couple of big plays behind the line of scrimmage. The sophomore from Shreveport knocked down Arrington. We have had torrential rains here in Southern California the last few days. And from time to time we've seen a few players slip. The field seems to be holding up very well, but we've seen a number of players go down onto the ground without being pushed down.
Go back to Adele Duckett, and you're talking about how he's on a roll right now, doing extremely well. Texas Tech rotates 6 defensive linemen. And if Tech's going to do that, that's going to allow them to be fresh. And a fresh Duckett, I had a little one coming for you. A fresh Duckett's like money on the pond or something like that. I was working towards the duck on a pond.
He needs a little more work on that one, though.
I know. I meant to go back to the drawing board there. Bottom line is, this is a fresh Tech defensive line, and as long as they're fresh, it'll give them a chance to stop Arrington when he's running the ball and to put a little pressure in the backfield on Rodgers.
Last time out used by Cal gives us a chance to reflect back on another great Holiday Bowl moment. This one from 1980. Who's that number 32? Went for 23 carries, 225 yards and 3 touchdowns against BYU. It's Craig James. BYU was down 45-25 late in the 4th quarter thanks to Craig's heroics. Almost 10 yards per carry, a Holiday Bowl record. But the
that was a bad night.
Rallied 3 touchdowns in the last 2.5 minutes, and the extra point was the game winner.
Well,
and you were telling us during the week that that is a memory that you still have not gotten out of your mind.
Well, I'm glad that we were a part of that, but I got to tell you, it was one of those games to where you couldn't believe that they kept getting the football back. And Coach Edwards, who's here tonight, I can't wait to see him to remind him how disappointed I was. But we lost the game, but I think our team won down in Tijuana the next day 2-0.
Coach Edwards mentioned during the interview with Heather that BYU was here a lot. Of course, there used to be a tie-in here with the WAC champion, and BYU is winning that conference year after year. The pass thrown into traffic by Rodgers, looking for McConan.
Intended for Jonathan McConan.
Good coverage by Antonio Huffman. 4th down and 10. And they will punt again.
Aaron Rodgers is nowhere near the player tonight that he has been this season. We have made a good point that he doesn't have his receivers, and many of them have been injured. But right now, they are so far from being the explosive offense that they were. It's not even imaginable.
MacArthur was injured in their last game against Southern Mississippi. Late in that game, as a matter of fact. So that is a new development for Cal. The 5th punt of the night by Loney goes out of bounds at the 10. Ordinarily, you'd say you're ahead by 10 against a heavily favored team, but this is Mike Leach we're talking about.
He may have that I've just eaten a lemon look on his face, but I'm with you, Sean. I'd be pretty darn happy with where we are right now at 24-14 if I were the head coach of that football team.
And no lead is safe here. How about that information? The team that has trailed at the half has come back to win the last 7 Pacific Life Holiday Bowls. And Coach Tedford has one of the best offensive teams in the nation to try to pull that off. Cumbie has thrown 27 times already, 19 completions, 263, 2 touchdowns, and they're not sitting on the lead, and that pass is just out of the reach of Cody Fuller. And they look like they're on to something with that pass, Craig. They've run that successfully a number of times.
And Sean, look up here now at the splits of Tech's offensive line. Look how wide out they are, right? They've got something going on to where the defensive line's no pressure. The receivers are finding their routes, and Cal's secondary is not matching up in zone. They're continuing to look at the eyes of Sonny Cumbie, and they're forgetting about the Tech receivers.
Do you agree with this approach, Craig, from the 10 with under 40 seconds to go? Haverty goes out of bounds to stop the clock. I think their chances of scoring now are pretty slim from this field position. I mean, you run another play, then throw an incomplete pass or go out of bounds, you're going to have to punt and give Cal another chance to score.
All right, let's put our hat on, and if you're thinking like Mike Leach, he's not going to run the football and run out the half. And his mind, what he does a lot of, I know he could.
I think he should, Craig.
I'm with you, but he's thinking. I'm trying to think like Mike right now, which I have half his brain. Mike is one of those guys that thinks he can dink and dunk it and move the clock.
I know this is the way they play, but I think under these circumstances, this is really not making any sense. Cody Fuller makes the catch out to the 30. You know, other than you're adding to your statistics, 16-yard gain on that play. You're a lot closer to the goal line behind you than the one that you're heading toward.
Of course, you also have to remember they're playing the number 4 team in the country, and sitting back is not going to win a game, so he's going at him. I'd run it now.
Quick throw, Jared Hicks. And they'll use their last time out. So we knew this would be a long game with these two teams and the way they put the ball up in the air, particularly Texas Tech. When you add to it 6 timeouts used in the first half between these two teams. What's on after us tonight? They might be a little later than scheduled.
I'll tell you what's on afterwards. You and me going to dinner and you treating.
New Year's Day, join ABC for a college football celebration. Craig will be a part of it. It all starts at 11 a.m. Eastern with the Rose Parade. Possibility of rain on that. Wouldn't that be awful? The first time since 1955. Followed by LSU and Iowa in the Capital One Bowl. The BCS kicks off as Texas battles Michigan in the Rose Bowl game presented by City at 4:30 Eastern. Then undefeated Utah takes on Pittsburgh in the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl at 8:30 Eastern. The new year starts with a bang January 1st on ABC.
LSU is setting the table for some lucky man to come in there and coach. Somebody lucky is going to get that job. Michigan. And that Rose is going to be a good game.
Of course, Texas jumping ahead of Cal in the last BCS poll certainly rankled Cal. Their goal all year had been the Rose Bowl. But it benefited Texas Tech because that moved everybody in the Big 12 up a bowl slot. They thought they were going to the Alamo Bowl for the 3rd time in 9 years. Instead, they come to the Holiday Bowl, the highest tier bowl they've been to under Mike Leach. This is their 5th bowl appearance in a row. Haverty runs out of bounds with 2 seconds left out by near midfield after a 10-yard gain. I was amazed to read that since '96, when the Big 12 was formed, Texas Tech is the only school in the conference that's been bowl eligible every year. Leading Oklahoma, Texas, Nebraska, Kansas State. They are the only ones 12 years in a row of bowl eligibility.
And I think they're easing their way up the ranks of that Big 12 conference from a middle of the pack team to the upper echelon.
Now you have to throw one deep. All this dink and dunk didn't do you much good. The throw is out of bounds. And it is halftime. Sonny Cumbie and the Red Raiders fired up, and why not? The big underdog tonight. Cumbie passed for 301 yards and 2 scores in the first half. And the Red Raiders go to the locker room, leading by 10 over Jeff Tedford's Bears. Here's Heather.
Coach Tedford, with your top receivers out, how much pressure are you feeling to run the ball more than normal?
Well, we need to get it to our running backs. You know, we're trying to throw the ball a little bit. The young guys need to step up and make some plays, and they will. I have confidence that they will in the second half, but we have to mix it up. We can't just live on one facet of the game.
Coach, do you think that you guys are playing with enough mental focus to win this game?
Yeah, I hope so. I don't think that mental focus is a problem. It's coming down to making plays.
All right, Coach, thanks so much for your time.
So Coach Tedford feels there is no hangover from all that BCS nonsense that impacted California negatively. The first half a negative as well. No negatives with Reese Davis in the Crestor halftime report. Welcome back to the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl at halftime here in San Diego. One of the great traditions of this bowl game, the spectacular halftime shows and the great fireworks display. And this year, the theme, the Wild Wild West. Might take a while for the smoke to clear here at halftime as the Red Raiders of Texas Tech have a 10-point lead over the California Golden Bears in what is at least a minor surprise and really a nice all-around performance both sides of the football by the Red Raiders.
Mike Leach isn't surprised. I mean, this offense at Texas Tech, they don't care who they're going against. They believe that when the ball's in their hands, they're going to score. You saw what happened at the end of the second quarter. He's not running the clock out. Leach is out there with Tech trying to throw the football and go down the field to score more points. I think that's the real indication that Tech doesn't have a whole lot of respect for Cal's defense.
Bear in mind the team trailing at halftime has won the last 7 Pacific Life Holiday Bowls, so it's far from over. But certainly in that first half, Craig, the momentum shifted after the interception by Vincent Meeks. At the time, it was a 4-point lead for Cal that turned it in favor of Texas Tech.
Aaron Rodgers' receivers are missing. They're missing in action. His receivers are not running disciplined routes. The timing is off right now. Aaron Rodgers is a great quarterback that doesn't have his whole contingency with him right now. And because of that and the deflected football, Meeks comes up with the interception, and Tech takes advantage of that.
So what do you look for in the second half in terms of what can Cal do to overcome for the lack of their star receivers and score some more points?
Considering Sonny Cumbie threw for 254 yards in the second quarter, I think I'd play a little softer, and I'd tell my linebackers and corners to go match up with receivers coming across the secondary. Find them. They've got a white jersey on, and let's go find them.
Second half is underway. Johnny Mack banged down as he crossed the 14-yard line. A 14-yard return. Excellent coverage on special teams by the San Diegan Terrell Williams. Here's Heather Cox.
Well, the theme for Coach Leach and Texas Tech during halftime was all about third downs. He said offensively, we must do a better job converting on third downs. And defensively, we've done a great job. We've held Cal to just 1 of 6 on third down conversions. Other than that, it's a simple Coach Leach. He said, hey, guys, we just need to keep playing hard.
We talked to the Texas Tech players, and they respected Cal. Craig, they realized they're a very good football team, but they said if they were in our division, they'd be right where we are. We think that they're not as good as Texas and Oklahoma in the Big 12 South.
And right now, Cal is proving that theory out to everybody in America watching this game. Tech plays in a very good conference, in a strong Big 12 South.
They finished 3rd. Behind Oklahoma, which was 8-0 in conference play, and Texas, which was 7-1. The Red Raiders were 5-3. Their best finish since the inception of the Big 12 in 1996. They come in having won 3 of their last 4. The only losses in overtime at A&M. And almost breaking away was Nehemiah Glover. They've been on the verge a number of times of just running away and scoring a lengthy touchdown. Ryan Gutierrez able to chop him down that time near midfield. We take a look at the Pacific Life game track, and there's the play we spoke of earlier, the interception by Meeks that really did turn the tide as Texas Tech responded with 14 points in a row.
And it definitely was at a time of the game where Cal and J.J. Arrington were running the football and really pounding Tech in the middle.
Jared Hicks with 2 touchdown receptions in the first half. Cumbie under pressure for one of the few times tonight, and he is sacked for the first time by Joe Meningo. His specialty is blitzing from the linebacker position, and that is his 6th sack of the season.
All right, Cal makes an adjustment. They've got 4 down linemen, a little nickel look, and you'll see number 9 coming from the inside. Meningo, he times it just right. So that's on Sonny Cumbie. Cumbie has to delay. He has to change his cadence to give his lineman a back time to jump up in there. But Cal's going to have to take some chances here, because sitting back, rushing 4, dropping 7 is not working.
Meningo was one of their stars of their win in the big game against Stanford, their arch rival. He had a 12-yard sack and a forced fumble in that game. Big throw, there's the catch. He may run away this time. Joel Falani, touchdown, Texas Tech, 60 yards.
Texas Tech and its field goal touchdown.
Touchdown throw of the night for Cumbie. 32nd of the season. He might have a record-breaking night here at the Holiday Bowl. Although he has a long way to go to get to the record, which is 576 yards passing by Ty Detmer of BYU against Penn State here in 1989. Cumbie's up to 391 though. Just 2 minutes into the 3rd quarter. Lincoln kicks the extra point. Joel Falani out of Paradise Valley High School in Phoenix, Arizona, with a 60-yard score, and it's a 17-point lead for the Red Raiders. And Craig, if you're a Texas Tech fan, it's been a whale of a game.
You know what? You're good. You're really good.
Sonny Cumbie, 391 yards passing. 2 minutes into the 3rd quarter. Bouncing kickoff down to Marshaun Lynch. He runs it back to the 21-yard line. Well, Coach Tedford said his team, he thought, was playing with emotion, but boy, they look flat and defeated right now.
I just showed you and said the play before that right now, if you rush 4 and drop 7, it's not working. Well, they try to drop 8. Dropping 8's not going to work. They have to find a way to get into the pocket of Sonny Cumbie. Wow. Cumbie's eating them up.
Was that holding or what, though?
Big time holding by the right guard. Got away with it, but I think right now at this point in the game, Cal's defense has to make a major adjustment. They just had a sack by getting after it. Now they're laying back their ears at the back of the field, and it's not working.
Well, the strength of the Cal offense is the run game with Arrington. And he goes out to the 27-yard line. Coming in, Craig, they hope that they would be able to run the ball and not have to lean on the pass because of the absence of their receivers. But Cumbie has built such a big lead. If it stays this big a lead a while longer, you wonder if that takes away much of the running game for Cal. So they get into a have-to-throw situation. They're a long way from that.
And they don't have the unit that's capable of carrying the ball. They have not shown the ability to throw the ball deep at all tonight.
Well, you admire their patience. They're doing the right thing. Get back to what you do best. Run the football with Arrington. He turned the corner for 13 more. Naziruddin made the tackle. The lead with his 5th tackle of the night. But it's a first down for Cal. They're not accustomed to being in this position. This is a team that has outscored their opponents this year by an average of 24 points per game. Not only are they 10-1, but they've won big all year. Of course, the only losses at USC when they really outplayed the Trojans and had a chance to win it at the very end of the game. They've outgained their opponents, Cal has, by 199 yards per game. So they are certainly not accustomed to this. Marshaun Lynch near another first down to the 49-yard line. Pulled down by Josh Rangel, who's seeing a lot of action at safety. And we send our best wishes along to Chad Johnson, who would ordinarily be the starting safety. He's back home in Shreveport, Louisiana, with his mom, who is battling cancer.
Man,
our thoughts and prayers are with them.
Absolutely. Good luck to you all.
Golden Bears, 2nd down and 1. They'll run the ball.
2nd and 1 for Cal. Lynch, the lone back with 3 wide receivers on the field. And they give it to Lynch, and he doesn't get there. Jammed immediately by Deke Bake, the junior from Sacramento, California. Backup defensive tackle, but as Craig mentioned earlier, Coach Sedensich likes to rotate in 6 defensive tackles.
Well, the rotating, when you talk about defense, a while ago, you said that Cal's not used to being behind. Look at that. That's 4.2 points a game in the second half. 46. And here comes Tech and scores a touchdown on the opening drive of the second half.
2 tight ends in the game now. And they give it to Arrington. A nice bounce outside. And a good open field tackle by the safety, Vincent Meeks. Let's check in again with Heather.
After that last Texas Tech touchdown, there was a lot of finger pointing, a lot of dissension in the huddle with the DBs. In fact, it took a while for the DB coach, J.D. Williams, to settle down his position group. Since then, they have huddled and sort of settled down, and I think J.D. Williams trying to refocus him, but I suppose that allowing 391 passing yards already can certainly be a source of frustration for Cal's secondary.
And something new for them. We mentioned a lot of what they've accomplished on defense is by togetherness and teamwork. There aren't a lot of stars on that California D. Rodgers throw. It is caught by Jonathan McConan. And he's very close to another first down. Impressive methodical drive underway here for the Golden Bears. They're at the 36-yard line. It might require a measurement.
And you know what? When you look back at this ball, McConan, the football hits the grass. That's not a catch. But it's a good job of acting by McConan to come up with it. You know, act like he has it. And the Cal receivers, you know, a receiving group, lineman group, running back group, they have to take pride in what they do, Sean. And at this point, they have to recognize they're the weak link in this game, and they got to make some catches.
Timeout called by Texas Tech. We saw Mike Leach use a few in the first half, and he said he learned this from watching basketball. A lot of times coaches use timeouts just to break momentum, not necessarily to control the time on the clock.
ESPN's presentation of the 2004 Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. Brought to you by Pacific Life, proud sponsor of the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. And in part by Citi, proud sponsor of the 2005 Rose Bowl, New Year's Day on ABC.
Another of the great Pacific Life Holiday Bowl traditions, the parade down Harbor Drive in downtown San Diego. Huge balloons. And thankfully the weather cleared today for the parade. Lots of rain in this area the last couple of days. 1st and 10. Cal. Will the timeout by Coach Leach break the offensive momentum? Not much on that play for J.J. Arrington. Trying to stop this prolific Cal offense is Lyle Sedensich. He was the defensive coordinator at Cal up until 2001 for a couple of years under Tom Holmoe.
Also assisting
dispatched with the rest of that coaching staff and is now at Texas Tech in his 2nd year at Texas Tech, reunited with Mike Leach. He gave Mike Leach his first coaching job back in 1987. But Lyle was the head coach at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo.
They only paid him $3,000 though.
Arrington around the corner. And another first down for Cal. 15 yards on the game. Coach Sedensich said, I really wasn't sure about this guy. I mean, he didn't play football. A lot of times it's hard for a guy who didn't play college football to get coaching jobs. He said, but the folks at BYU called me and said they thought he was a bright young guy who would work hard and do a good job. So I hired him. Turned out they were exactly right. Mike Leach was a bright young guy who did a great job.
And then after 2 years, told him it's time for you to move on. You need to go move up the ranks, and had a feeling that he had what it took from an education standpoint to teach the game. He understood, he saw it. Even though he hadn't played college football, he could see it and feel it.
Well, he's burning up these timeouts here, trying to stop this drive by Cal. Will it be a momentum breaker? It wasn't the last time. Well, a sellout crowd, more than 66,000 fans here. Plenty of folks have made the trip from Lubbock. Like Mike Smith, the linebacker, told us his folks were going to drive 17 hours. A lot of people did that to get here to Qualcomm Stadium, which has hosted 2 Super Bowls.
And they're glad they did drive it.
J.J. Arrington now needs just 4 yards rushing to reach 2,000 for the season. Be the 3rd back in Pac-10 history to do that. He won't get it on this play. Rodgers keeps it. And the ball pops up, but he's down inside the 10. A little short of the first down. Rock Stratton tripped him up. They're going to mark the ball near the 7-yard line, about a yard shy of the first down. Randall Cherry, a little bit slow to get up. He's from your town.
Yes, he is. Our hometown, Salina, Texas.
Salina, Texas.
Yeah, Randall Cherry.
Where is Salina?
It's north of downtown Dallas, about 45, 50 minutes, depending on the time of the day. Got to get you there.
We see the Craig James Museum.
Absolutely. All at 12 by 12.
And Cherry heads off. He played on 3 state championship teams. Good high school football in Salina, Texas.
Very good stuff.
2nd and 1 from the 7. Cal down by 17. Arrington lost a yard or 2 on that play in his quest for 2,000. He got buried by Bake. Deke Bake. But the play doesn't count. Boy, that's tough. You get drilled on a play that didn't count anyway. Delay a game against California.
It might not have counted, but it sure did something psychologically.
It was loud, too. Bake is a junior college transfer from Fresno City College. Lyle Sensic says he has NFL potential. His best game this year was against Texas. He had 6 solo tackles. He's a backup. But as we said, they rotate a lot in that front 7. 2 tight ends in the ball game for California. 2nd and 6 from the 8. Rodgers throws short, and it is almost intercepted. Excellent coverage. He really didn't have anybody open, and he was fortunate to get away with that as Josh Rangel had the best shot at it. And he plays for Texas Tech.
All right, Mike Smith, you talked about his parents who made the trip, 17 hours of driving, and this time Mike lines up on the outside, and he does his job because McConan is coming through, knocks him off his course. That was his underneath route. That's his option. Timing's not there. Good recognition by Tech's defense.
Smith, a Lubbock native. So the first picture that they took of him, he was in a Texas Tech jersey. He said, I hope I die in a Texas Tech jersey. He's a 5th-year senior, 4-year starter, already has a degree in communications. 3rd down and 6. To the end zone and incomplete. Looking for McConan again. Antonio Huffman had the coverage. So a nice drive, but they're going to have to settle for a field goal barring a fake.
Ball just a little bit behind McConan, but you wonder about the angles. Again, we go back to this, and I'm making excuses now for Aaron Rodgers. Receivers run different angles on different patterns. His other guy, Jeff McArthur, might have run a little tighter.
But McConan is a senior. They've worked together a long time. He's really not one of the new guys that we've been talking about, like Jordan and Gray. 29-yard field goal try. And Tom Schneider's kick is good. He's a redshirt freshman from Walnut Creek, California. 2-touchdown lead for the Red Raiders.
ESPN's presentation of the 2004 Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. Brought to you by Pacific Life. Proud sponsor of the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl.
Well, Red Raider fans hoping to see some school history here tonight. They have a chance to win 8 games or more for the 3rd straight season. That has never happened at Texas Tech. 3 years in a row of 8+ wins. They were 8-5 last year. 9-5 2 years ago. Also never won 3 bowl games in a row. That would be the case if they win tonight. They beat Clemson in the Tangerine Bowl 2 years ago. And they beat Navy in the bowl game in Houston last year. Johnny Mack brings back the Cal kickoff. 19 yards. Out to the 31-yard line. Tomorrow, a full day of Capital One Bowl Week on ESPN, highlighted by 2 great games at 3:30 Eastern. Top 2 scoring teams in Division I football meet. Boise State and Louisville, and then Florida and Miami in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl.
I believe old Louisville is going to put a number on Heather's Boise team. I think Louisville gets them.
I think so, too.
Mr. Champ.
Thank you very much. Sonic Bowl Mania Challenge, defending champ. If anybody was wondering about that reference, Joey Hawkins, the senior, with another catch. His second of the night. He had 5 all year coming in. This one's good for 12 yards and a first down. Well, pass defense, when you looked at the numbers, Craig, you know, we talked about Cal, 13th in total defense at 296, but they give up 213 yards of that in the air, pass defense. Bob Gregory, the defensive coordinator, said, I'm not really worried about that. Most of the time we're so far ahead this year, the other teams have to throw, and they're going to pile up some yardage when they're throwing it every down.
Scoring defense is what he was really into.
Yep, but he has to be concerned about the pass defense. Cumbie now over 400 yards. He's at 403 as he hands off for a rare run for Henderson. Mike Leach is probably saying, I knew I shouldn't have called a running play. Tim Mixon ran him out of bounds. So that is the 6th 400-yard passing game of the season for Cumbie. 403 right now. How about this start to his starting career? First year started this year. First 3 games of the season passed for at least 440 yards in all 3 of them.
It's not a system either. Mike Leach does a great job of coaching them. And Sonny Cumbie's been around long enough to observe some really good performances. He has to make the decisions.
And make the throws. And he has demonstrated some great touch on the intermediate passes and great accuracy on the long ball. There's another good throw to Nehemiah Glover. Damian Hughes pushed him out after a 7-yard gain to the 48 of Cal. It'll be 3rd down and 1.
You mentioned some of the players that have come along in the Mike Leach era. About the Leach Cadillac that he's out there orchestrating. Simmons and Kingsbury stay in touch with Cumbie, and they're always encouraging him. But those numbers are gaudy. I mean, and these are numbers. You saw the proficiency in the red zone scoring. That means Tech does more than just throw the football. They can finish off the drives.
5,800 yards plus last year for Simmons was the NCAA record. There's a deep throw. Incomplete. Looked like Trey Haverty didn't realize that the throw was intended for him, and they roughed the passer. That's the reason for the flag. So that'll keep the possession alive. It would have been 4th down and 1. But roughing the passer against California, 1st down, Texas Tech.
And this is where the frustration level comes into play now for Cal.
On the defense, number 19, 15-yard penalty from the previous run. Automatic 1st down.
Top of the screen to the head. I think more than anything else, it's the shot to the head that the officials probably made the call on. But there's going to be a sensitive part of this ball game here for Cal and their defense. They're not out of the game. They have to make a play. They need an interception. They need a turnover, some way of getting that offense and their rhythm back into it.
3rd penalty against Cal for 34 yards. Under 7 minutes to go, 3rd quarter. 4 wide receivers and the quick toss to Danny Amendola, the speedy true freshman from the Woodlands, Texas, near Houston. The only true freshman to play for Tech this year. And he has them to the 29 with a gain of 5.
You know, that's running the football for Texas Tech. That's them running the ball, getting to the corner, and the linemen pulling. You know, the linemen are out there running around the corner, and they rotate some linemen. They stay fresh on offense as well. But Tech does a heck of a job of just dinking and dunking it. You know what?
And then when you come up and play the deke and dunk, they throw it over your head. 2nd and 5. Johnny Mack, the senior from Lakeland, Florida, collared, but not before he got the 1st down. And there is a flag now. Might have been face mask. They tackled him up around the head. Ryan Gutierrez, the safety, made the tackle after a gain of 8.
Personal foul. Face mask on the defense, number 9.
It's a 15-yard
automatic first down.
variety against Gutierrez. Meningo perhaps also in on the play.
Johnny Mack gives Tech a different look. And the defense at Cal has been seeing balls thrown through the air, it's over the air, and all of a sudden here comes another guy darting in there. They're small, they hide behind those big hogs up front and have a lot of power in that low center of gravity.
And Mack is a little guy. They list him at 5'7", 175, but Coach Leach talked about how powerful and explosive he is. He's a good change up to Henderson. Cumbie looking to the end zone, and it is incomplete. Intended for Cody Fuller. He tried to convince the officials he had it, but it hit the ground. Second and 10, just outside the 10-yard line.
Yeah, that hit the ground for sure on that. But you notice that the safety comes over just a little late. It's almost as if that Cal's defense is reading that half a second, that half a beat longer. They're trying to feel this offense out, and it's just not. There's no coordination of matching up in the secondary.
Gutierrez, their leading tackler. Fifth-year senior. He was here at Cal back in 01 when they won 1-10. He was a redshirt freshman. Mack around the corner. Mack down to the goal line. Touchdown! Touchdown run for the senior from Lakeland, Florida, where he played on a state championship team in high school back in 1999. And the Red Raiders are pulling away from the number 4 team in the nation.
Wide receivers catch it, and they also block.
Alex Trelika adds the extra point. Largest lead of the night for either team. A 21-point edge for Texas Tech after 8-play, 69-yard drive that took just a minute and a half. 38 points on the board for Texas Tech, surpassing their season average of 35 per game, which placed them 11th in the country. Big surprise here at the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. The Red Raiders with a 21-point lead. Trelika kicks off down to the 7-yard line. Marshaun Lynch. We said early on, Craig, it looked like Cal was playing with emotion, that there was no hangover from being snubbed in the BCS, but you wonder about it right now. This doesn't look like a team that's flying around on either side of the ball.
Well, but again, we watched Cal against Southern Miss at the end of the season. They didn't blow out a team that we've seen this year, and I know Southern Miss is not bad, but a play like this right here, look at the speed of Matt getting to the end zone. They're just, maybe there's more speed on this field for Texas Tech than people believe there might be.
From the 23, 1st and 10. They stick with the run with Arrington. On the verge of 2,000. He dances out to the 26-yard line. Rangel made the tackle. So what you're saying with the comment about Southern Miss is maybe this team just isn't that good.
Okay, UCLA gets beat by Wyoming. What's that saying about the Pac-10? That's my point.
Isn't that good?
I've been saying the Pac-10 is not that good. I've been saying USC does not deserve to be there as much as an Auburn team who wins the SEC. You know what? So that's my point. You find that, you put it on the field at the end of the season and you see what happens out there. Right now they're proving it out.
Well, I agree with you. I've been saying it for weeks, if not months. I think Auburn is the best team in the country. Marshaun Lynch, the reception and a first down. And that's why we talk about this BCS snub of Cal, that they were 4th in the BCS poll, but then when they didn't win impressively enough against Southern Miss, they dropped back to 5th. Texas jumped over them. Texas lobbied a bit to move up in the coaches poll. The Cal people say, well, we got kind of rocked here by the system. Well, if it wasn't for this system, this BCS system, you wouldn't be going to the Rose Bowl anyway, right? Because you didn't win the Pac-10. If it was back to the old way, USC would be playing in the Rose Bowl as the Pac-10 champion.
And when you made that mention to a couple of their players, they looked at you like, oh, boy, that's right.
Hadn't thought about
yeah,
that.
I hadn't thought about that. But you know what, Sean? I believe if Tech were to play, or if Cal were to play in this Big 12 South division, at this point here, they're a middle of the Big 12 South at best. And that's, you know, Cal has some good players. J.J. Aronson and Aaron Rodgers are dang good players. But they don't have any more speed or power or strength than Texas Tech does.
Arrington with that carry now right on 2,000 yards. That last carry put him at 2,000 for the season. This throw to the tight end, Garrett Cross, to the 46-yard line. So congratulations to Arrington. Third 2,000-yard rusher in a season in Pac-10 history. Had a chance to have the second highest single season total if he can get 50 more and tie or move past Charles White. And Jeff Tedford made the point, you know, how is this guy 8th in the balloting for the Heisman Trophy? 100 yards rushing every game this season. A lot of people just didn't know anything about him at the beginning of the year. Never really did get much buzz. Rodgers sacked for the second time. Patrice Majano-Mwamba, the senior from Brussels, Belgium, with the sack. He grew up in the Congo. His family moved to Belgium. Matter of fact, Coach Sedensich says a lot of times when you talk to him on the practice field, he'll answer in French.
He has to. That's the way he converts it over to English.
Coach Sedensich says he doesn't speak French, so he doesn't really understand the response a lot of the time.
He speaks French, Texas.
Loney with another short punt. Amendola gets away from it, and he takes a nice roll for the Aussie. 42 yards on the punt for Loney. He's had some good luck tonight with the bounce.
Well, we've been talking about the comparisons between Texas Tech and Texas, and when Tech played Texas, the Longhorns dominated them. I mean, this was not even it wasn't even a close game. And so is the right team playing in the Rose Bowl is the question.
Well, based on the comparative scores, you'd say yes.
The Longhorns dominated. That's what I was looking for tonight. For me to really wonder, well, maybe Cal should have been in the Rose Bowl. And clearly, they've laid an egg in this game.
And they are without MacArthur, but still, they should be able to overcome that, at least to a greater extent than they have. And certainly, the Red Raiders aren't going to take the foot off the gas pedal. Hicks ran a deep pattern, and Cumbie almost connected with him again.
Should have. He had him beat there. Hicks is behind the corner on that play. At some point, don't you have to figure that Cal's defense and their secondary would recognize that the Red Raiders are going to throw the football, regardless of the score. If he can put 60 on the board tonight, he's going to do it. I think I'd be in the backpedal mode a little bit quicker.
Jeff Tedford said his team was mad and upset and focused on the BCS thing for about a day. Then he thought they immediately had their focus on the Holiday Bowl. Ryan Gutierrez said, hey, we're honored to be in the Holiday Bowl. This is a great bowl game. And if you told us a few years ago when we were 1-10, we'd be in the Holiday Bowl, almost a huge play by McCleskey, one they could really use right now, you know, we would have been delighted. So they didn't look at this as a consolation prize, but they certainly have played tonight like a team that isn't 100% inspired.
They would have been delighted there as well if that interception had gone for a touchdown. But you know what? Cal has enough mix of the old guys in that 1-10 team to go along with some JC players that have mixed in well. There was some disappointment, but there is also an appreciation level here.
They could easily take a big drop down next year. They lose 29 seniors. 19 of them on the two-beat. The throw is high by Cumbie. And a rare 3-and-out tonight for Texas Tech, with 2.5 to go in the third quarter.
Ryan Riddle, number 90, is a player who likes to get around the outside and play on the edges. He's a full energy guy. He's been frustrated tonight, and again, it goes back, I believe, mentally, psychologically. Tech did not have the humongous splits that they were supposed to on the offensive line. I don't know that Cal's defensive lineman ever adjusted.
Third punt of the night for the sophomore from Allen, Texas. Reyes almost blocked. And it bounces away from Tim Mixon. He had to retreat all the way to his 36. And he cannot turn the corner. Run down by Jabari Smith. 49-yard punt thanks to the bounce. -1 on the return. ESPN has the Outback Bowl at 11 a.m. Eastern Time Saturday. 2 9-2 teams, Georgia and Wisconsin. Coverage begins with College Game Day, built by the Home Depot at 9:30 Eastern.
Cal takes over 1st and 10 at the 35.
So California down by 3 touchdowns. They average 37 points per game for the year, well below that average with 17 right now. Rodgers, that's been a familiar look tonight. He's out to the 39-yard line. He could be gone from Cal after just a year and a half. Had to go to junior college for 1 year out of high school. Had a prolific high school career, but was not highly recruited. So went to junior college. Ordinarily you go for 2, but his junior college coach felt he was ready after 1. And Coach Jeff Tedford wanted him after 1 year. Tedford actually found him while looking at film of Garrett Cross, the tight end, who was his junior college teammate. He liked Cross. He also said this tight end's good, but the quarterback might even be better. So he began to recruit Rodgers, who came. They have a very close relationship. Of course, Tedford has tutored some of the outstanding quarterbacks in college football in recent years. Trent Dilfer, Joey Harrington, Achilles Smith, Billy Volek.
And he's not afraid to walk into any top-rated quarterback in America. Now, from coast to coast, Tedford can walk in there with an assurance to that kid. I know what I'm doing. Look at our stats. Look what our offense does.
Of course, he worked a year at Cal with Kyle Bowler. Rodgers throwing a deep ball, and it is through the hands of Robert Jordan. The true freshman wanted a flag, as did the Golden Bear partisans. But no happiness for the Old Blues on that throw. Nazaruddin had the coverage.
And I think Nazaruddin did a nice job here. The ball just not quite there, and I don't believe that there's any pass.
Unlikely, as Sonny Cumbie has been tremendous, passing for 416 yards.
Not so fast, my friend. I've been in this stadium when the team came roaring back. In the Holiday Bowl, you never know.
Third down, a long yard for Aaron Rodgers and the Bears of Cal. Rare handoff to the fullback. It's Chris Mandarino for the first down. Meeks with his 8th tackle, but Mandarino moved it to the 21-yard line. Coach Tedford raved about him, said he is a good ball carrier. We should give it to him more often. New Year's Day, join ABC for a college football celebration. It starts at 11 Eastern with the Rose Parade, followed by LSU and Iowa in the Capital One Bowl. Then the BCS kicks off. Texas and Michigan in the Rose Bowl game presented by Citi. That's at 4:30. And then Utah undefeated against Pittsburgh in the Lame Duck Bowl, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, with 2 coaches who are no longer there. Will no longer be there. J.J. Arrington into the secondary for 11 more.
Kind of makes you wonder, too, with the lame ducks and the coaches that are gone at Utah and Louisville, or not Louisville, but Utah and Pittsburgh, how they're going to play. Which team shows up. I know Utah has a lot of pressure on them as a BCS buster to go in there and do their thing. But what they don't realize, or they better, is that Tyler Palko can throw it. And Greg Lee, at sophomore receiver, they're hot down the backstretch.
2 tight ends in now for Cal. 10th play of the drive. In the first minute of the 4th quarter, they're down by 3 touchdowns. Rodgers back in the end zone. It is caught for a touchdown. Garrett Cross hooks up with his old junior college teammate Rodgers. They were a dynamic duo at Butte here in the state of California, and they hook up for an 11-yard score here.
Something about the air in San Diego in a Holiday Bowl in the fourth quarter. You never know. You don't believe me, do you?
Well, you're the same guy who said the Pac-10's overrated, this team's overrated. I mean, if that's the case, how are they going to come back?
We'll see.
24th touchdown pass of the season to Rodgers, the 5th reception for Cross. A 65-yard drive in 10 plays. The extra point good. Cal back within 2 touchdowns. Aaron Cross, the senior, with the touchdown catch from his longtime pal Aaron Rodgers. And hope is alive on the Cal sideline as David Loney kicks off. And a good boot down to the 1-yard line. Johnny Mack. Nice return of 29 yards out to the 30. And it's time to take a look once again at the Pacific Life game track. It was a 10-point lead at the half, and then Joel Falani with a 60-yard reception helped Texas Tech pad the lead. A historic night for J.J. Arrington. He goes over 2,000 yards rushing this season. And Johnny Mack, an 11-yard touchdown run, the most recent score for the Red Raiders. Sonny Cumbie sets up the screen to Mack. Trying to set up the blocks, but he got tangled up with Dylan Gandy and tripped down after a very short gain out to the 32. A gain of 2.
It's a very difficult proposition here for Cal's defense. They know they need to make a big play, a turnover. At a minimum, they've got to stop and get a 3-play drive and make them punt. But Tech's offense is so good at the short, underneath, controlled timing routes. You can't get to the quarterback, and the balls are thrown in a manner that it's tough to intercept them.
Well, Texas Tech has been much better this year in not turning the ball over. And they had a big problem in that area last year. Kicks lunging for that 40-yard line. He appeared to come up just a little bit short of the first down. Last year, 35 turnovers. They still managed to win 8 games. They've cut that number down to 23 this year.
And playing big games in their conference, in their division, you don't get to a bowl game if you turn it over very often.
Here's a big 3rd down and short, and Cal wasn't ready defensively. They had Brandon Mebane running onto the field as the ball was snapped. And Cumbie, with the quarterback keeper, picks up a huge 1st down. Cal had the chance to really continue their momentum earned on the last score.
And I have to wonder whether or not Sonny Cumbie had the presence of mind, seeing the unorganized state of the union on that defensive line, if he runs the quarterback sneak.
They really had 10 men on defense because Mebane ran out late, and then he slipped and fell when he tried to take his position. 4 wide receivers, 2 to each side, and whistles and flags.
Prior to the snap, ball starts on the offense. Number 8, 5-yard penalty. Remains 1st down.
Joel Falani, a little eager. 4th penalty against Texas Tech. Each team penalized 4 times.
Yeah, not many mistakes by Tech. And again, the lack of turnovers really, and the pretty good solid game they played. They've had excellent play calling as well. Right when you think they're going to throw it, they do a little shovel or a little run by the backs.
10 straight winning seasons for Texas Tech under Spike Dykes and now Mike Leach. 5 straight bowl games under duress. Cumbie had to get rid of it. Joe Meningo with his specialty, the linebacker blitz once again.
They've changed it up. Cal's defense, they've been 4, they've been 3, but you see the numbers of them in the box, and you'll see 7 decide to come this time. And that kind of pressure forces the issue a lot quicker than sitting back there knowing you've got 3 or 4 that are going to be handled up front.
2nd and 15. Cal fans making a lot of noise. obviously been a huge resurgence and interest in Cal football with this success. Movement along the line. It looked like E.J. Whitley, the right tackle, came out of his stance with Meningo dancing around the ball.
All right, the snap. Ball starts. Offense. 5-yard penalty. Second out.
I wonder if that crowd noise is having an impact. The Cal fans hang in there and doing their part. This year they set the home attendance record, average 64,000 fans per home date.
Well, what Meningo's doing is messing with Whitley's mind, and Whitley has to have the confidence that Sonny Cumbie's going to give that pregnant pause to allow his lineman to make the adjustment. Look at them tighten up their splits now.
Meningo dancing. Cumbie might be changing the play. Low throw, handed by Hicks, but he does not get far. Run out of bounds by Donnie McCleskey. Too early to say the momentum has turned, or do you feel
it's turning?
At least it is turning.
It's turning. Couple of penalties on Tech's offensive line. A little momentum now. There's a little more swagger in Cal, a little more sense of urgency in Cal. And you also have to wonder, Sean, too, if Tech's not sitting up there thinking, hey, wait a minute, we got these guys on the ropes and start.
Well, they really don't run the ball all that well. It's hard to run to sit on a lead, try to run some clock, but the short passing game, they completed such a high percentage, it's almost like a glorified run game. Nice call here, a little screen, but nowhere near the first down goes Joel Falani. He's tripped up at the 48-yard line, a gain of 15, but he came up about 4 yards short of the first down.
And again, this is one of those where the aggressiveness of Cal's defense, they'll have to be careful. Falani was close to taking that one to the house. And Mike Leach, you've said it earlier in the game. You'd have to wonder here, is he going to go for it? Because if you're doing this at the middle of the field, you're really kind of rolling.
I think he feels the momentum has turned, and he needs to make a play to turn it back. And a timeout called by Cal. As you saw Mike Leach signaling to Cumbie, he did not want him to call a timeout. So California does, leaving the Bears with 2. Texas Tech has 1 left. They've used 2 on defense here in the second half. Well, a big play upcoming. It does look like Texas Tech is going to go for it, leading by 14 on 4th and 4. And the Cal fans trying to spur on the defense.
Hicks is up top. Meningo on number 9 on defense. Number 9, Meningo.
The Bears showing blitz. Play clock at 3. And it looks like he's just trying to draw him offside.
On the offense. 5 yards. Remains 4th down.
But Cal used a timeout. Little chess playing there.
Before this delay of game.
That's right.
When it looked like they were going to go for it before the TV timeout. And I think the punt is definitely the right play. I mean, this is a Cal pass offense that has certainly scuffled all night long. Make them drive the long field for the 2-touchdown lead. 4th punt of the night for Alex Reyes. High kick, they hit the punter, and there is a flag down. Fair catch made by Mixon, and Reyes is hurt. Lorenzo Alexander hit him. It'll be a first down for Texas Tech on roughing the kicker.
You know, old Mo Mentum. Old Mo is always looking for a bench in a game. Cal clearly had him sitting on their sidelines. He may have just moseyed back across.
And Jeff Tedford realizes exactly what you just said.
Personal foul. Roughing the kicker on the defense. Number 76. 15 yards from the previous spot. Automatic. First down.
Lorenzo Alexander, who's a great player for Cal. Second team all Pac-10. Outstanding run stopper, just trying to make a big play for his team. Didn't block it and then hit the kicker.
He's an even better young man. I had lunch sitting next to him yesterday and really enjoyed my conversation with him. And I know more than anybody on that field right now, he is in the tank with what he just did to his team there. Good young man.
He's had an interesting life story as they helped Reyes off. Alexander, when he was 8 years old, weighed 140 pounds. He wanted to play Pop Warner football. His mom brought him down to sign up. They said, oh, he's way too heavy. He's going to have to play with 10 or 11-year-olds. And the mother said, no way. I'm not allowing him to do that. He didn't play football again until high school. His mother wouldn't let him. He played baseball and basketball. And we talked with him. He said it really helped me to play that much baseball and basketball with my athleticism. It helped make me a much better football player.
And all of his friends in the neighborhood were glad that his mother wouldn't allow him to play.
Well, she did a great job with him. She worked 2 jobs, including managing a Toys R Us. He said that had some benefits.
I had to give guy half my steak yesterday. I gladly gave it up.
He said he was always the first on his block to have the new toys, but she worked 2 jobs so he could go to private high school in Oakland at St. Mary's and get a great education. Allow him to go to one of the premier public universities in America. Matter of fact, the University of California rated #1 among public universities in this country by U.S. News and World Report. And Lorenzo makes the tackle on that run by Johnny Mack.
You know, the rough and the punter play on Lorenzo Alexander really was a play where effort is being made, but the footwork of the punter took him off of his normal course. And so that took him really in the path of Alexander, and unfortunately for Alexander, allowed him to rough the punter.
5-yard run by Mack, 2nd and 5. Any kind of a score here would be huge. Boy, a helmet went flying in the offensive backfield as Hicks made the reception for a first down to the 31. Wendell Hunter made the play, but after a gain of 6 for the sophomore from Houston, Jared Hicks.
Here's this Mike Leach, a little bit of this crossing he likes to take, and he likes to get to the middle of the field. That's that BYU influence that we were talking about. A lot of crossing routes, and you notice how Cal's defense, Sean, they don't match up. All night, people have crossed in front of them. They haven't recognized. I know zone's one thing, but you know, you match up when a guy comes around you, and they have not done it tonight.
7 catches for Hicks. 48 yards. The average is 101 yards receiving per game this year. 7th in the nation. Mack. A little guy running hard inside to the 26-yard line. Donnie McCleskey made his 5th tackle for California. And the clock running down toward 9 minutes remaining.
Yeah, Jeff Tedford and Cal, this would be a very big blow to a great season. You know, they have had so many expectations, and it is difficult as a team. I know he tried after that first day of disappointment from the BCS rejection to get everybody motivated back. You and I know, because we've covered football all year. We've seen Texas Tech, and we've seen these schools and how good they are. We knew they needed the focus to come in here.
Double clutch and then an incomplete pass. Cody Fuller was well covered on the play by Tim Mixon.
But with Tedford, he has to regroup after this game, should they go on to lose, and kind of put the focus back into how far they've come in such a short period of time. And Jeff Tedford making the early commitment now. The new contract extension, he's staying around, the loyalty's there, they've got the facilities coming.
Signed a 5-year contract, new deal for $1.5 million a year, and if he stays the whole 5, he gets another $2.5 million at the end of it. So it'll be a package worth $10 million over 5 years. Even rumored to be the top choice at the University of Washington. Pass behind Fuller, and then he got hit hard by Matt Giordano. His fellow safety Gutierrez talked about how they were going to level some hits in that secondary tonight. They have had a few, but it's really the Red Raiders who are enjoying the last laugh right now.
Yeah, there's no laughing going on here right now. Cody Fuller, 24, when he makes his move back in, a bad pass behind him. Giordano comes in and lays the wood. And this is an interesting deal. I would have thought Mike Leach would have gone for it from this point.
Well, this puts it into a 3-score situation here. 43-yard field goal try by Alex Trelica, as long as just 34. He hasn't made one beyond 40 this year, and it's no good. Hooked it wide left. He's now 0 for 6 this year beyond 40, adding to your point.
And you asked him yesterday, Mike Leach, specifically, what's the distance here? And he didn't want to answer you, did he, Sean? He was like, I don't want to jinx my kicker here. You know, he's hit a 60 in practice. But, you know, let's call it 45-yard range. That's why I thought Mike would go for it right there. And probably if he had it to do again, obviously, hey, man, let's reload and go for this thing.
So the roughing the kicker didn't cost them points, but it did cost Cal field position and time off the clock. They take over at the 26-yard line. Aaron Rodgers. Good throw. Plenty of zip on that one to Jonathan McCollum. A gain of 12 and a first down out to the 38-yard line. Antonio Huffman made the tackle.
Now tempo becomes critical for Cal's offense. They've got to get in and out of the huddle. The sense of urgency has to crack that huddle. They can't allow the play clock to wind down to 5 before they snap it. They need to get in and out of the huddle.
Rodgers. Deeper throw, a little too deep. Over the head of Robert Jordan, freshman from Hayward, California, who can really run a 4.4 or even below 40. Let's check in again with Heather.
Sean, an update on Texas Tech's punter Alex Reyes. He did have a left knee injury. He's been fitted for a knee brace right now. Just got off the training table, walking around, trying to see if he's able to go. They did do an ACL test actually on both knees. Looks like the left is the worst. If he can't go, number 98, Wick Brenner, is his backup and is warming up right now.
Sometimes when those kickers hit the ground after someone hits them, it is a little bit of a Hollywood job to try to yield the flag. That was not the case with Reyes. He clearly was injured. Nice catch on a short throw. Great effort by Robert Jordan.
Robert Jordan on that reception, going home embarrassing.
Mentioned he was going to redshirt until midseason when all the injuries hit. He has demonstrated some great athleticism. Ryan O'Callahan, the offensive lineman, said, I didn't even know who this guy was. I knew who he was, but I didn't know his name until they brought him over from the scout team.
You're just a sprained ankle away from being in duty, right? On duty, on call.
Third down and 5. You wonder if this is 4-down territory as they approach midfield from their own 43. Rodgers sacked. Third of the night. Second for Dawson. Keontae Dawson with a big sack, and now they can't go for it on 4th down. With the ball back at the 38-yard line and 4th and 10.
Jonathan McConan was the intended target here. And up at the top, you'll see that there is a hold, really, by the Tech defense. Right in here. See this? I mean, you've got the hold. Man, Tech finally catches a punt in the air and doesn't let it hit the ground and roll 15 yards.
Block in the back on the receiving team, number 31. 10-yard penalty from the end of the run. First down.
Sean, what do you say we do a little kick track here?
Well, we spent so much time working on developing this technology. Let's look at kick track. I think there was some question about whether this one was good, Craig. Clearly it wasn't.
Yeah, red. I guess red means you're no good.
Good thing we had kick track. From the 26, we're just warming up kick track in case it's really important later on. We need it to ascertain whether the field goal was good. Where there's another flying helmet. This is a couple times we've seen helmets go flying here. Behind the play, you wonder what it's all about.
That's 2 helmets.
And no flag down. Catch was made by Jared Hicks. Ryan Gutierrez made the tackle. Cody Campbell going back to fetch his helmet. A senior from Canyon, Texas.
Oh, he got it. Yeah.
Oh, that should be a penalty.
Well, but it was in tight quarters, Sean. I mean, they were having a little disagreement there.
What's he looking at? Brandon Mebane grabbed the helmet of Campbell.
Well, Campbell tried to pick his nose. I mean, and you know, you'd get a little disgruntled
on both of them.
Well, you know,
you can't do that.
No, you pick your own nose.
Early, right? Remember when he threw the helmet?
Yes.
There's Torian Henderson. He got shellacked at the 40-yard line. Ryan Gutierrez, who promised some big hits. He got up at the luncheon yesterday. He's one of the representatives of Cal. 2 players from each team spoke. 2,000 people, both teams there representing their entirety. And he really talked about how we're looking forward to these guys running across the middle. We're going to whack them. Well, and he said it was a 50-50 response when he got back with his team on the bus. So the players liked it, the coaches didn't like it.
Well, he was talking a little smack, and he was showing his inside enthusiasm for the game. But really, he set 2 guys down for me. He had about 2 or 3 Mountain Dews before he went up there, so he was wild.
Out it goes to Nehemiah Glover. He stays in bounds and gets to the 42, perhaps the 43. The clock running, and we'll go under 5 minutes before the next snap. And another big 3rd down here. Cal really in almost a must-stop situation.
Must stop or a must turnover. And the one thing that has hurt Cal are the crossing routes.
Cumbie up to 463 yards passing. 35 out of 53. Texas Tech has 536 yards of offense. Will they get the first down? They did with the great effort at the end of the play. Harrison Smith trying to get Jared Hicks down before that first down marker, but could not.
Jared Hicks has just been solid tonight in making the reception, not worrying so much about the yards after the catch. He secures the play and then fights for the first down. Hicks and his wide receiving group. What'd you call them earlier? They got a group of them over there called
the Afros.
The Afros. 9 balls, and you see the 7.7 average. That's nothing flashy. That's not 17.7. That's just holding on to the ball. That's possession.
Below his usual average. He averages 16.5 for the year and 101 yards per game. Texas Tech fans chanting overrated now. And Texas Tech wisely letting the clock run down. No big hurry now to get up over the ball. Cal has 2 timeouts left. Cumbie throws behind Hicks. Harrison Smith had the coverage.
You know what? You sit here and you watch this game, and Tech's offense just doesn't have that grind them out in them, right? You said they're throwing the football, they stop the clock. That's Tech. That's Mike Leach. You know, you are what you are.
And with the short passes, they view it as a ball control type offense if it needs to be.
Yep.
I think you're right. On 1st and 10, maybe mix in 1 run just to make sure you run time off the clock. That's the most important thing right now. They've taken 2:33 off the clock on this drive. Henderson taken down from behind by Ryan Riddle. We haven't called his name very much tonight. He had 14.5 sacks this season. The school record, broke the record held by Andre Carter, who's in the NFL as a 1st-round pick. 5 tackles tonight for Riddle, the senior from Culver City, California. 1 timeout left now for the Golden Bears.
ESPN's presentation of the 2004 Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. Brought to you by Pacific Life, proud sponsor of the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. And in part by the new Chevrolets. 10 new cars and trucks in 20 months. An American revolution. And City, proud sponsor of the 2005 Rose Bowl. New Year's Day on ABC.
The Gaslamp District in downtown San Diego, one of the most popular neighborhoods in this beautiful city. All kinds of great restaurants, upscale shops. Probably go get your body painted down there.
Oh, I can do that here.
3rd down and 10 for Texas Tech from midfield after the Cal timeout. Cumbie forced to dump it off. Henderson has a lot of running room, and he has another 1st down. to the 40-yard line and just inside the 40. The safeties, Gutierrez and McCleskey, had to make the tackle. It's an 11-yard gain, and this Cal defense now just cannot get off the field.
Let me give you an example, Sean, of why this isn't just a system making plays. Watch the patience of Cumbie. Look at the depth of the receivers. Cumbie waited till the very last second before he gave it to Henderson, didn't he? What'd that do? That made the Cal defenders drop back even deeper, which allowed them to get the first down for Texas Tech.
California has called a timeout. They have none left. And it's a fresh set of downs upcoming for the Red Raiders of Texas Tech. This is a Cal defense that has given up 296 yards per game this season. They've given up 555 tonight. And Craig, this is a bowl game with a history of dramatic comebacks and a lot of scoring, but Cal is really obviously up against it right now.
Well, 3:40. I was in this game one time, a long time ago. We were up by 20 with 3 to go. But Cal doesn't look like they have any kind of shot at it. The defense has no way of stopping the offense. They just have been out of sync. The wide receivers missing from Cal, I think, hurt them tremendously. I think that the Texas Tech receivers totally surprised Cal's defense. That was the key. And Cumbie's presence of mind, his patience, which he just had on the last play, paid off for them.
And some of those voters who moved Texas up ahead of Cal after the last game of the season when Cal wasn't real impressive in winning at Southern Miss, some of those people who've been criticized in recent weeks might feel vindicated right now.
Proof's in the pudding right now. That's the only way you can do it. On the football field, you would have to say right now that Cal is an overrated team. They didn't have their game tonight. And that's the point. When you play in these big leagues and these tough conferences week in and week out. Now, and Sean, I know you busted me earlier saying that I say the Pac-10's overrated.
No, I didn't bust you.
Well, I don't. Last year I was saying they were underrated. I mean, I'm just my opinion. I try to be honest and fair. I watch all the games.
Well, there's an incomplete pass. They try to set up a screen. A couple of the Red Raiders we talked with said, hey, we think they're not as good as Texas and Oklahoma, who are in our league. We played them. So we're not afraid of Texas and Oklahoma. We're not afraid of these guys.
You know what? And there were some critical plays in this game tonight that really allowed Tech to expose Cal. And that confidence just continued to blossom. And the opening drive of the third quarter was a great example of where they are right now mentally as a team.
Now, I know they throw the ball all over the place, but Cal doesn't have any timeouts. And they were trying to set up a relatively safe little screen pass, but still, run the ball, wouldn't you? Take time off the clock. Cumbie throws it up for grabs. Caught, and then it is knocked out of bounds, and they roll it an incomplete pass. Henderson had it up against his chest for an instant, but never had full possession. He got leveled. Well, Gutierrez in that defense delivering a little late on the promise to deliver some big hits.
Oh, and you know it's coming. Oh, man. Woo. Thrown on the money. But like you say, here we are at 3:27. It's third down, and you know, the clock's not moving.
Yeah, I don't understand that play calling at all.
However, I'll say this. Think back to the end of the second quarter. Tech's up by 10 points. He's throwing the ball. He's throwing the ball. We don't know why. In the last play of the half, he's throwing it in the end zone for a potential Hail Mary.
No, they didn't quite reach the end zone with the Helm.
Well, it was out of bounds.
Too far out.
Yeah.
3 straight throws. This one's complete, so at least the clock will run on the 11th play of the drive. That's taken more than 4 minutes off the clock. Henderson tackled by Brian Tremblay, a backup linebacker. 35-yard line, and one more chance for Cal to stop this possession.
And here you just said 11th play of the drive. We're both up here questioning what Leach is doing. Not questioning him. He's doing it differently than the norm is. We both agree with that. But it's the 11th play. That's a lot of time, a lot of clock.
There was 1st and 10, 3:42 to go. Cal has no timeouts. And some time ran off the clock here that shouldn't have. We're going to put it back to 3:07. So you've run 3 plays and only taken 35 seconds off the clock, when the only way they can hurt you is if they get the ball back with enough time to score twice. The time is the issue.
Again, it's the dink and dunk. It's the conservative underneath throws that allow them. That's their running game, and they are what they are, and it's gotten them to this point. It also has given them a pretty big lead in this ball game.
So we're going to let the play clock, it seems, run all the way down. It is 12 seconds left, and then they'll use a timeout. Cumbie has tied the Holiday Bowl attempts record with 59, set by Ty Detmer when he threw for the bowl game record 576 yards for BYU against Penn State. He's completed 38. That's 4 shy of Detmer's completion record. 38 for 59 for 486 and 3 touchdowns for Sonny Cumbie.
Some key plays in this game early on. The Meeks interception after the deflection off the hands of the receiver. Hicks comes down. They have his 2nd touchdown reception of the game. And then just a moment ago, the roughing the punter on Lorenzo Alexander. Some critical plays in this game. Very few mistakes. We had a couple of procedure calls against Tech's offense. But for the most part, this is a team that took advantage of some opportunities they were given, put some points on the board, very efficient in the red zone, and whether we like it or not, they have controlled the clock. I agree with how they've done it.
Well, they've controlled the clock, but they could have controlled a little more.
Even more.
Because there was no way Cal could have stopped them. And there's no way you could argue, even Mike Leach couldn't, and he's a lot smarter than us, that if you had run the ball 3 times starting at 3:42, the clock would be lower than 2:43 right now. Or even run it twice.
Right. We'll see.
There's good advice. Stay tuned for Sports Center. Stay tuned. Good advice. Maybe not textbook delivery of the message, but we're living proof that messages aren't always delivered in textbook fashion.
There's your single out here. Trey Haverty.
Going for it on 4th and 6. Heat on Cumbie. Lofts it up. It is caught. Out of bounds at the 1-yard line goes Trey Haverty, who thought he had a touchdown but did not. 34 yards.
Boy, it's a good thing that they stopped the clock. He's done it forever, though. I mean, this is his style. Haverty gets the single coverage on the outside. He pushed off the defensive back to Mixon. And Mixon really, you know, it should have been probably pass interference on the offense. Pretty good push there by Haverty on him. Ball thrown up, single guy, nobody in the middle to help him. Haverty runs right by him.
1st and goal from the 1. Touchdown, Torian Henderson.
And a touchdown for Texas Tech.
Second touchdown of the night for Henderson. 18th of the year. 16th rushing touchdown as he adds to his single-season Tech rushing touchdown record. Not only is Tech going to win, but they're going to do it in a rout. 45-24 with 2.5 to go.
Number 75 right tackle E.J. Whitley's had a couple of procedure calls on him, but I want you to watch the big fella over here score with his man. If you score with your man, my man's going to score. Look at that domination. That's getting underneath pads. That's driving. That's the sled drill. They started that back in August in the heat of the summer out in West Texas.
Guns up tonight in San Diego, and Sonny Cumbie, the gunslinger, is our Capital One player of the game. 520 yards passing and 3 touchdowns.
The record is Ty Detmer.
Yep, 576. It's not going to hit, I don't think.
Hey.
And if they get the ball back,
yes,
fire it down the field a few more times.
Yeah, you know they're going to.
Congratulations to Cumbie. Waited a long time to be the starter as a fifth-year senior, his first year starting. He's one of the 20 Texas Tech seniors playing their final game tonight. And this is, as you said earlier, Craig, I think a program that is on the rise, and more people are going to appreciate. Marshaun Lynch runs it out across the 20-yard line. This will be 11 straight winning seasons. And 3 straight seasons of 8 wins or more for the first time in school history. Scott Van Pelt and Steve Levy standing by with Sports Center. Bronx bound. Will it finally happen for Randy Johnson? Jermaine decision. It's Jermaine O'Neal, the latest of his status. And who's playoff bound in the NFL? They're very excited to this town. They had a line out yesterday here at Qualcomm Stadium for Charger playoff tickets. People were lined up at 4 o'clock in the morning waiting for the tickets to go on sale. You were just coming in from the Gaslamp district when those people were waiting up for tickets.
Hey, I was in the bed. I promise you, sleeping early. My daughters are here with me this week, spending some time, and
they were in the Gaslamp district.
They did go to the Gaslamp district, and I said, "Hey, y'all are on your own."
Well, what a disappointing conclusion for Cal. A terrific season. They were so close to being undefeated in the regular season. Their only loss prior to tonight was at USC when they really outplayed the Trojans at the Coliseum for most of the game, dominated in just about every statistical category. Total yardage more than 2-1. They outrushed them almost 4-1, outpassed them nearly 2-1, had more than twice as many first downs, 37 minutes time of possession, threw in the end zone on the last possession from the 10-yard line, could not pull it out. Then they win every game the rest of the way, 7 in a row. They thought they should have been in the Rose Bowl for the first time for Cal since the late 50s. Since 1959. It did not happen. They wanted to prove a point tonight. They should have been a BCS team. They didn't make that point tonight. If anything, they vindicated those who said Texas should go ahead of them. Robert Jordan the catch. Rodgers battling all the way to the end. And as we've said a few times, if you're just joining us, we believe this will be the last game at Cal for the junior Rodgers. He said he had made up his mind. There's been a lot of speculation. And certainly the vibe we got from him yesterday, without him saying it directly, was that he was going to go to the NFL draft. McConan out of bounds at the 45-yard line.
You talk about the domination of the game. Cal's defense in the second half of the season, the entire season, had given up only 46 points. Tonight in the second half, they've given up 21. I mean, you're talking about that's nearly 50%.
Excellent.
I've been working with you all year.
You're much smarter. It's just a shame we're running out of games. At least you've stopped using the abacus up here, which I thought was very interesting. A little outdated, but interesting. Earlier in the year, Terrell Williams, the San Diegan, tackled by Sylvester Brinkley. McConan comes up limping at the end of the play. 19-yard gain. They're at the 35-yard line of Texas Tech.
Bears first and 10 at the 35-yard line.
Rodgers to the far side for David Gray, and he got knocked out of bounds by Antonio Huffman.
Even at the end of the game, when you need to get the ball in the end zone, they can't stretch Tech's defense. It's the 7-8 yard outs, ends. They just haven't been able to hit the big play tonight. For a while there, it looked like J.J. Arrington was going to rush for 300, 400 yards.
He rushed for 173. But the big deficit really took him out of the ball game. What a season he had. More than 2,000 yards rushing. 100 yards plus in every game this season. They'll have to replace Arrington, probably Rodgers. 29 seniors playing in their last game, and they made history. This is the 3rd straight winning season for Cal. You know the last time that happened? 52 years ago. 1950, 51, and 52. The last time they won 3 straight. This group has been to back-to-back bowls. They won the Insight Bowl against Virginia Tech. First time that happened since 90 and 91 when Bruce Snyder was the coach. And they appeared in 2 games that I'm not sure exist anymore. Copper and Citrus. The Citrus Bowl has been renamed a number of times. That's still there in Orlando, I believe.
I don't know.
The Copper is the Insight Bowl.
Yes, I did the Copper Bowl when it was the Copper Bowl. I announced that one a long time ago. Was it with you?
It probably was.
Yes.
I probably just tried to delete that memory from my mind. Sports Center is next.
I love you too.
We thank our great crew here at the Pacific Life Holiday Bowl. Our producer Jim Zaroli, our director Brad Sheldon, and all of our fabulous technicians working in ESPN HD tonight. Pass complete to McConan down to the 1-yard line. 16 yards. Rodgers will get him right up to the line. Jabari Smith saved a touchdown. Cal looking for a cosmetic score here with a minute to go. McConan up to 98 yards receiving on 8 catches. But without MacArthur, without Lyman, and without Burl Toller, who they thought might play tonight but did not with patella tendonitis. Rodgers the keep. He did not get in, and now a flag thrown as they unpile. Thrown behind the defense. They have too many men on the field. Not only do they have too many men, I think they have 13 men on the field.
Illegal participation on the defense. Half the distance to the goal. Still first half.
You know, you don't want to be the guy that runs out either.
I didn't see anybody go off the field. They still have too many men.
I didn't see it. Nobody left.
When Rodgers scores a touchdown with a flag down, I think they're going to get flagged again with too many men on the field. We refuse to leave. We don't want them to score. We're going to do whatever it takes.
12 men on the field. That penalty was refused. Result of the play, touchdown.
Texas Tech is a good school. These guys are smart. You know, it's not that hard a concept. If you have too many, somebody has to leave.
I'm telling you, but you don't want to be the guy running off to get chewed out for being the 13th.
So Rodgers, the rushing touchdown, his 3rd of the year. Ooh, we might get track for that. I don't know.
That was close.
That was close.
Fire up the K-track.
Up and good, say the officials, from Tom Schneider. 77-yard drive. 11 plays. It took 1 minute and 49. That looked like the Cal offense the Bear fans have seen all year. Seen it only in glimpses here tonight. I wonder if that's one last salute to the folks who have followed him in his college career.
He made quite an impression in a quick period of time, as did J.J. Arrington. The comfort is hardly bare, though, at Cal. Tedford's got it going on. Recruiting's been strong. He's going to do it again.
Facilities, they've really needed that. They play in kind of a charming old stadium, but it is old. And they're building $140 million worth of facilities. Some of them are academic buildings, but they're all tied in together. With everything you have to have in this day and age to keep up in recruiting, all the meeting rooms and locker facilities and weight rooms. You got to have a football Taj Mahal these days.
It's a multi-purpose facility. And Jeff was like, why is it costing so much money? Well, they've got a fault line down the middle of the field. One of those
has to be retrofitted.
1920-ish stadium and everything else. So, but he's recruiting good players without the benefit of all the sizzle.
He made a commitment to stay when he was certainly a hot candidate for a number of the jobs that were open. Onside kick. And it goes out of bounds. Off the hands of Joel Filani. A couple of those Red Raiders really didn't look like they were that interested in grabbing the onside kick, because I think they knew the Cal Golden Bears were coming down there with evil intentions. And now some trash talk. I know some of the Red Raiders didn't like what they thought was trash talk from the podium at that luncheon yesterday from Gutierrez. So this might be the response now that they've responded in the best possible way by winning the game.
both coaching staffs admitted that the Cal defense played really well as a unit, but didn't have any single guy that would just pop off the screen at you and say he's a superstar. You taking your earmuffin off so you don't hear me anymore?
No, I was putting it on so I could hear you. I was following the instructions of our leader, Jim Zaroli, who also was a big standout at the luncheon yesterday. He got introduced, and 2,000 people gave him a rousing ovation.
It was rousing because you played a joke on him. And
well, the crowd was upset because they didn't think Jim stood to acknowledge his introduction, and then we had to tell him he is standing.
Exactly. We gave him a couple of yellow pages at the end of the banquet.
Well, a terrific end of the season for Mike Leach and the Texas Tech Red Raiders. They make history tonight, and they will likely finish in the top 25 in the rankings for the first time since 1989. It's hard to imagine they could miss. They were 21 coming in, and they beat the 4th-ranked team in the nation. They'll probably finish comfortably in the top 20. Final score, Texas Tech 45, California. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. Now for Craig James, Heather Cox, and our crew, Sean McDonough saying good night from San Diego and Happy New Year, everyone. For summaries and stats of this game, log on to ESPN.com, your home for college football on the internet.